guys, you know what time it is. It's your boy David at the Irish Hotspur, Ireland's #1 Spurs fan, the world's biggest Harry Kane fan, and we are bringing you the player ratings. Of course, we battered Newcastle yesterday, 5-1. Absolutely, get them in the batter, put them in the deep fat fryer, and yeah, it's absolutely some magpie is, and we are joined by co-host Jack Kanicki, of course, James from Spurs Related. Jack, you still buzzing, lad?
Still buzzing, Dave. Actually really much enjoyed just kind of relaxing. And had a bit of an Antonio Conte pizza as well to go with it. Just goes with those sort of victories. It's nice also, Dave, just to kind of just have really no worries, going to bed at night, thinking about the club. I also even have a tasty player rating, Dave. I got so delusional that I'm actually excited to see what James thinks of it, because James doesn't really back my FIFA skills, Dave, but maybe he might be a part of this very small fan club of a certain player I'm giving man of the match to today, Dave.
Yeah, look, we'll wait and see. At the end of the day, look, 2E might agree. I'm going to disagree anyway, that's for sure. But it's disagreeing in a good way. We're not disagreeing because, Spurs are being crap and we're disagreeing on something. We're actually disagreeing in a good way. We're fighting over a man of the match. And that's what life is nowadays as a Spurs fan. I mean, look, we've come full circle this season, absolute full circle. Started off positive, going into the new season, etc. And then you go all the way around, and now we're back here being positive again. I'll have no other way to end the season. Jamesy boy from Spurs Related, him and his co-host Andre will be hosting a Spurs quiz Saturday night. So hopefully we do actually get the win Saturday, so that it could be a nice little love party here Saturday night. But James, of course, from Spurs Related, how are you keeping, my man?
Oh, buzzing, honestly, absolutely buzzing after yesterday. Reflect both of what you're saying. And yeah, the Magpies got absolutely done over. I was a bit worried first half. Obviously, I was just thinking like typical Tottenham, all the here we go again kind of feels. We've had it before with Newcastle, and I was a bit worried. It's a little bit of a bogey team. But listen, they got absolutely put aside. I mean, the fact that Eddie Howe subbed on a centre-back in the 70th minute, they just didn't want to get done with the record of 9-1 in the Premier League. So listen, it was an absolute pleasure to watch, and absolute pleasure to be here with you boys, rating the players. I know we'll have some differences, like you said, but I think you can almost justify like 5, 6, 7 players that were man of the match for Spurs yesterday. It was unbelievable.
Love that, James.
Yeah. No, it really is. And look, we will get into yesterday's game in just a moment. I do want to see what Irish Hotspur army we have in here enjoying the Tottenham love bug we have going on right now. And then I do want to talk about yesterday's game. We're not going to go too deep into it, because we will be bringing you the tactical insight tomorrow on yesterday's game, where we break down the whole game from start to finish, stats. We'll show you the goals, absolutely everything else you need to know. But look, let's see what Irish Hotspur Army are in the building with us. We have Rootin', Shootin', Tootin', Putin. Look, I thought Rooty Tooty was him the other day. I thought he changed his name because of what was going on right now. But you know what? Fair play to the guy. He still sports the name, even in these times.
Doesn't like being impersonated, clearly, Dave. He doesn't like, seeing it. He's always listening, Rootin', Shootin', Tootin', Putin is. He's always listening, Dave.
No, big up Rootin' Tootin'.
Listen, as Mourinho said, just quickly, as Mourinho said, I prefer not to speak on that one. You know what I mean? Like, I get myself in trouble.
What a name, though. What a name. I really do appreciate the donation, my man. Big yourself up. And he recently moved as well. So he's got a whole new life ahead of him. Recently moved. He's back in work and everything else. So best of luck, brother. We have Mick Hermalock says, good afternoon, lads. Come on, you Spurs. Come on, Mick. Good afternoon,
Mick. He's always in here as well, Dave. He's always in here.
He's always here. Tottenham Tantrum Goal, a.k.a. Dermot. He says, when the Spurs go marching in. Big up, Dermot. Absolutely love it. Still on a high from yesterday. Great show yesterday after the game. Watch most of it today, my man. Everybody do get over and check out Tottenham Tantrum Goal. But big up, Dermot. We also have Wembley 1. Big up to you guys and all the flat cap Harris Army. 8 cup finals to go. Come on. And that's it, my man. Look, Arsenal play today. We are in top 4 right now. So we are 2+2 goal difference as well. It really does suit us being there. It looks good. It looks like the league table is starting to restore back to somewhat of a normality. And look, hopefully Arsenal get hammered by the Eagles tonight. That'll be absolutely lovely. Hopefully Patrick Vieira will actually want the Arsenal job, and he's maybe thinking, hang on, if I batter these well, he could get sacked and I could be in that job. So hopefully that gives him a bit of momentum to go and win that game. And look, at the end of the day, I said this yesterday on the pre-match pump-up when we were talking TV. Just ignore all the other noise and what other teams are doing. At least if we can just get the maximum points from the remaining games and look after ourselves and restore some pride in the fan base, in the badge, and in the club, and the players back within themselves as well, and just do what we have to do. And look, if luck isn't on our side, but then it is what it is. But at least we gave it maximum effort.
Sometimes that's a good way to win a race, Dave. Just don't even look to the left and the right. Just keep going running. Just keep on getting the points.
I mean, what do all the best penalty takers in the world do, Jack? They forget all the noise that's going on around them, forget all the stuff going on in the stand, they blank it out, show the composure, and they just put the ball in the back of the net. So, they ignore all the noise around them and they do their job, and that's what we got to do. Verd Ben says, we're all Palace today, right? Yeah, we are all Palace, my man.
Got the Brixton Supply Company beanie. I got the Brixton Supply beanie, at the ready. I got it at the ready, my man.
I've got my eagle costume ready, waiting to sit there and watch the game in, my man. I'll be flapping them wings, brother. Big up, Verd Ben. We have Justin Grierson says, come on, the Eagles. Absolutely love it. Big up, my man. And we also have Bobby K in the house. Big up, Bobby K. I hope you're keeping well, lad. I really do. We also have Ian Ferguson in here with us. My poor girlfriend had to endure my horrible singing all of yesterday. Gimme a ginger from Sweden. Yeah, well, look, my missus has actually had to endure me singing Matthew Doherty's song to Simon and Garfunkel, Mrs. Robinson. Gave it a good belt when we were talking TV last night. I've got the clip. I will be uploading it just for everybody out there. And it's my sort of apology to Matt Doherty. So, look, hopefully he accepts it. But I gave it a good go. Simon Cowell has been in contact. I've had to turn it down and said, look, my love is Spurs. I don't want to do X Factor. I'm sorry, but big up Ian Ferguson. We have Leon. He says, afternoon, lads. Big up the Flat Cap Army. And come on, Palace. Big up, Leon. I hope you're keeping well, brother.
Legend.
We have Welsh guy. Big up, David and Jack. Such a great result yesterday. Come on, Palace. Conte ball is the way forward. Certainly is. Certainly is, Welsh guy. I'm absolutely loving everything right now, even down to Paratici getting involved. I mean, look, that's a topic for another day or for the fan show tonight. But look, if 3 points means everything to my director of football, I'm all for it. Not many director of footballs actually care whether the team wins on the weekend or not.
Yeah,
whereas ours does. And then you look at Conte, you look at the way we perform. Yes, I'm kind of getting 2016 vibes about it. So, I mean, everything's positive, Welsh guy. Big yourself up. Para Miguel Escobardo says, big up the dynamic duo. Big up everyone in the chat. Vamos, Spurs. Big up Para all the way from Lagos.
Big up Welsh guy as well. Always in here, Welsh guy.
Everyone's always in here, lad. They're always in here. They're all
the regulars. We got the regulars, Dave.
Craig Bowler, like bowler hat, like he likes to remind me. Big up Craigie. He says, great atmosphere in the ground yesterday. Everyone was buzzing. It's a far better vibe when everyone is more positive. Well, I mean, it really is. It really is. And hopefully it can continue for another year or two at least. I'm really enjoying the party vibe, to be honest with you. Look, we've always tried to remain as positive as possible over here. And hopefully people are understanding why now, Craig. It's never over till it's over. Big up, Craig.
Anybody at the Craig, anybody at the ground, I was so jealous if they got to see any of that moment of when Conte ran over to the fourth official, and also to see anybody that also was near maybe the tunnel as well, to see Paratici, in the fourth official's ear. Any of that, Dave, would have paid top dollar for that. Anybody would. No, I really would have. Sushan Busal says, big up everyone. Hopefully we can enjoy another victory tonight. If Palace does us a favour, please, that would be absolute. I'd be buzzing. I'd be so buzzing. Spaghetti Slayer says, I've worked it out. Doherty only scores when we win by exactly 4 goals. Arsenal are going to lose tonight. Come on, you Spurs. Come on, you Harris Army. I really hope so, Spaghetti Slayer. I really do. Who else have we got? We've got Escapone. Big up Conte's gangsters. Big up, my man. I hope you're keeping well. We need to get Conte one of these bad boys. So we do. Big up, my man. If you've any contacts to Conte, let me know and we can get one of these over to him for one of the games. We should bring the hitman, on for Nicky Anthony, Dave. Tell us, what he does behind the background.
I'd love to bring him. I'd be disappointed if he gave answers. I just want him to sit there and stare at you when you ask him these questions. That'd be even better. TG says, come on, you Spurs. Big up, TG. We also have Lazy801, the guy that really helps us out in all departments, graphic-wise and watch-along-wise. Says, what a result, lads. Big up yourself, Jamesy.
Legend, mate. Absolute legend. And he helped our intro as well. We made an unbelievable countdown that everyone loves. So big up to Lazy 8 Nick. He's a legend.
He's a very, very talented guy. Very talented guy. We have Brian C. Socrates, the philosopher. He says, big up, lads. Great win. He is still buzzing. Come on, you
Loves
Spurs.
the fan cam as well. Yeah, love the fan cam, Brian. Always love the fan cams. I would say that's honestly, Dave, they're the ones I kind of almost watch kind of immediately, even when the missus is kind of, asking me, it's time for dinner and everything. Even if they're uploaded early, Dave, I love kind of seeing them right away, especially Chris's, always, Phillips as well. So I would encourage people to send them in.
Yeah, big up Brian C. Socrates. What a guy. What a fan cam. Claude Murphy says, big up you Spurs. I give man of the match to Bentancur. Yeah, there's definitely a case for that, for sure, my man. Big yourself up, Claude. A very good pick, I have to say. Not one that lots of people are picking, but a very good pick. I really do. There's definitely a case for it. George Hill says, afternoon, lads. Big up to the whole panel today. Come on, you Spurs. Come on, you Irish Army.
Big up, George.
Come on, you Flat Cap Army. Big up, Georgie. I hope you're keeping well, brother. Mr. Edwardson's in here. Tottenham actually play like they want to win now. It's a total different mentality than under Nuno. Nuno did his best, but I don't think he can inspire like Antonio can do. Look, we went to La Royale beforehand, and the legends that were speaking on Nuno, they were kind of alluding that he was almost acting like he didn't want to be there, to be honest with you. And look, no one around the club liked him either, so it kind of all came to a head, and he had to go.
Looked like he couldn't inspire himself, Dave. Looked like he couldn't even inspire himself by the looks of it. So I don't know.
But when you look at it, right, you look at Paratici, the signings he's brought in, no one can argue with them anymore. Nobody. You look at the signings he's brought in. You look at what the 3 points and winning meant to him yesterday, that he's having to go at the four officials. You look at Conte, who just constantly talks about winning. Even when we finish fourth this season, he's going to be absolutely raging. He doesn't want to be fourth best. He wants to be the best. And then you look at the players, the way they're playing, the winning mentality. I think since Conte's come in from losing positions, we've took 14 points this season, which is absolutely phenomenal. Since Conte's come in, shows even when we do go down, we still have that belief, that fight, and that spirit to be able to go and get the result. And yes, there was another example of that. And then, so for me, I think, look, I'm getting the feeling that something special could be on the horizon here.
I think you're spot on, Dave. The only thing I was going to quickly add to that was the fact that Paratici's also been involved in getting rid of a lot of the players as well. Yeah. You think how much of a more positive dressing room it is now. Everyone's together. We've got rid of Dele Alli and Dombele and Lo Celso, and literally they were dragging a lot of the morale down as well. So I feel like that's a big part. Yeah. Obviously, the signings in, amazing. You can't argue with it. But also the fact that we've got rid of so much of that dead wood already is such a blessing.
And he had a bit of a reputation that he couldn't really get rid of players, which was actually quite true and quite founded. But he's kind of almost brutally, you would say, James, getting rid of that reputation. Almost in kind of a savage, sort of way, the way he's gotten rid of some of the players that you would imagine. Even with Aurier just ripping up the contract, essentially, with the likes of Ndombele, it was just like, just get him out. Gio, get him out. Dele Alli, the fact the reports are coming out from Everton right now, thank God he got him out. But yeah, quite brutal in the way that he's even done it. Love it.
Definitely. Spot on. Look, at the end of the day, they do say too many cooks spoil the broth. You just got to let the guy cook. Clear the kitchen, leave him in there and let him cook. That's all you got to do. Rooty too, he says, and you have me too. Big up, Rooty too. Can't forget you, my man. Yes, Shakur says, in my opinion, Kane was man of the match. Spurs admin failed. Ha ha. Look, I also agree with you. Look, it's a very unpopular one. A lot of fans don't agree with it, but I definitely do. And it's not because I love Big H. It's just he was at the heart of a lot of the attacking moves yesterday. And something I'm not even going to delve into today, but I am actually going to delve into it tomorrow. But this guy, if you really want to sit there and think about it, he's sacrificing goals. He's sacrificing his own ego for the greater benefit of the team by dropping deep to pick up the ball, to be able to set off the likes of Kulu, to put Son in behind for a lot of the goals that he is scoring of late as well. So he's sacrificing himself for the greater good of this team right now. But I will get into that tomorrow. And I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about and where I'm coming from with this. Because when you go back and look at some of the games, especially of late, He's dropping in, and Son is occupying the 4th position, and I will show you that tomorrow. But big up Yasin Shakur. Who else have we got? We've got Mary W. says, so enjoyed the match. Antonio has made the game fun again. He has. I'll be honest with you, I was sitting there, chest out. I was absolutely loving life yesterday. I mean, I was just so relaxed as well. After the third one went in, I was just sitting there relaxed, and it brought back the enjoyment that, I had up until maybe a couple of months ago. And now the enjoyment is back again. I absolutely love it, Mary W. It's enjoyable again. That's a very good word. A very good word. It's simple, but sends out 1,000 words. Very good, Mary W. Who else have we got? Here? Let me see. We've got William Pretty in the building. He says, how we all doing? We're all good, brother. I hope you're keeping well. We've got J. Cole says, every fans and pundits pick Sonny as man of the match. But on Irish Hotspur, and Sonny can't even make the list. First of all, I don't know why you're thinking Dan Kilpatrick is racist. I'm not sure what is behind that. But to be honest with you, Joe, I was actually meant to type in Son yesterday as an option. I ended up typing in Kane at the time because we were talking about, and it was a mistake. But at the end of the day, Kane ended up winning the vote. Sky Sports picked Harry Kane. Now, maybe it's just something you're not seeing or you don't want to see, quite frankly, to be honest with you. But I don't know. Some people out there, something wrong with some people. Ian Ferguson, big yourself up, my man. I hope you're keeping well. Pure F and Vintage says, we're all Palace fans today, aren't we, lads? We definitely are. Phil is in the house. He says, evening, big up, Phil. I hope you're keeping well. On your bike, Scott says, big up, lads. Great game yesterday. Even better being in there. Come on, you Spurs.
Big
up on your man. I hope you did enjoy that game yesterday, Scotty. I really do.
By the way, Scotty's got the best profile picture on YouTube comments. Like that dog with the Tottenham map behind it is just iconic on our channel. It's just unbelievable.
It is quality. Andy James is in the building. Good evening, lads. Come on, you Spurs. Big up, Andy James. Still calls us. Ben Davies said Newcastle United gave 3 goals for them. It has been a long time for Davies. We'll get into that, my man. We will get into Davies. Jim Boxall, Spurs till I die. Great show, lads, and it's nice to see all us Spurs fans happy. Tottenham till I die, and that's what it's all about at the end of the day. Just finding the joy in things. No need to nitpick, no need to be arguing, no need to be throwing around accusations or anything like that. Just sit back, really enjoy what's going on right now, because it's what we all wanted at the end of the day. Big up, my man. We have Dan Ennis Wells. Finally, lads, been a while since I've been able to tune in. We played champagne football this weekend. Hope you both had a great time in London. The vlog looked great. Look, we've been playing champagne football for the last couple of weeks, my man. West Ham, we played some champagne football. Bet them bubble blowers. Nice, like they deserve it. It was absolutely brilliant. And then, look, I'm glad you did enjoy the vlog, to be honest with you. Look, we're not experienced in doing vlogs whatsoever, so we tried our very best possible, and hopefully you did enjoy it, my man. And it's good to have you tuning in as well. Big up, Dan.
Big up, Dan.
And the bottom Doherty here is saying Conte's post-match presentation was even better than the game. He absolutely adores Kane, and rightly so, the best player on the planet today. He is the best player on the planet today.
Maybe he's just absorbing the jealous energy of Dave, because, Conte every single day, he strokes a bit of Harry Kane's hair, he just kind of touches, Harry Kane's shoulder and whatnot, asks him how the kids are and everything. All the things that Dave probably would, I don't know, maybe do anything, in this world probably to be able to do. So I think Conte's just relishing in that, just maybe rubbing it in, a bit in Dave, and probably just doing it in the press conferences as well.
No, big up. And the bottom look, Kane is the best player on the planet right now. You look at passing ability, the way he holds up play, the way he strikes a ball, the goals he scores. I mean, he is the best player on the planet right now for me. But big up the bottom, big yourself up, my man. Absolute legend. But look, guys, we will maybe touch on yesterday's game and just give our quick thoughts on it. Look, for me, I actually thought the first half was very disappointing, to be honest with you, boys. I thought, look, with Newcastle, they were happy to press us when we were in our own half, but as soon as we got into their own half, they just kind of dropped in a little, made it tight, didn't really give us too much room to work in, to be honest with you. We gave away this stupid set piece. They got a goal, and we'll get into Lloris and Sonny on them when we talk about the player ratings. But what I really liked is that we answered back more or less straight away. Shows that winning mentality, the desire, the hunger to be able to get that top four. And then the second half, to be honest with you, I actually thought Newcastle sniffed the result at half-time and their mentality changed. And I don't know about you, but when I was watching the game yesterday, I kind of felt myself looking at the game, and there was so much space that wasn't there in the first half from that Newcastle team. It's like they played a higher line. They pressed us a lot more, and we just played through that press with ease and broke them down. I think that's why we ended up winning the game in the fashion we did, to be honest with you.
And when you kind of look at it, like, and I'm going to talk about this later, I think getting the equalizer is probably what really deflated Newcastle, because when you do kind of think about it, they did go into it extremely, conservatively and extremely negative. I mean, Sean even joked during the watch along tape. It was like, whatever it was like a 10-1 formation at, or whatever it was, at one stage. It just felt like every man bar Chris Wood, was behind the ball, trying to win it back for them, or just trying to just keep some sort of defensive shape. And no matter what we really did, it was just going to be frustrating. It kind of felt like it was going to take a bit of luck or some sort of bit of brilliance from some sort of player to break it down, but then once they got that very lucky goal from kind of a silly free kick, but also from, I think we'll get into it later, maybe some poor keeping as well, you kind of we're thinking Newcastle is just going to continue to do more of the same, Dave. They were going to continue to sit very defensive, but the fact that we got that equalizer so quickly and then kind of walked into halftime, maybe that kind of deflated them a bit, and maybe it kind of just made them think that they probably couldn't really, continue more of the same, and maybe they did open themselves up a bit more.
Yeah. And James, what's your thoughts on both halves overall on the game?
Yeah, spot on. I especially agree with what Jack said about when we got the goal. That was very, very important, because if you remember, that Newcastle actually had a couple of corners, one of which went straight to Dan Burn right on the back stick. I mean, he's about 6'10", and the fact that he's there with absolutely, it was unmarked. I was just thinking that could have easily killed off, maybe gone 2-0. But when we got the goal, we almost needed another 5 minutes to then go on 2-1. And I was thinking, in a way, halftime came at a good time, but also a bad time. And the reason I say that is a good time because Conte can go, well, this is what we're now going to go and do to win the game. However, it almost came at a bad time because you saw just after I think we scored on 43, there was 2 or 3 minutes where we were literally still going forward. Could have made it 2-1 just for half time. And you're like, we needed that extra 5 minutes. But then, of course, 10 minutes into the second half, it's 3-1. It's game done and dusted pretty much. And then we got to kick on from there. But I agree with what you're also saying, Dave, in terms of I was very disappointed first half. I was absolutely fuming with some of the just lackluster passing in midfield, lazy passing. Defense were letting the Newcastle attack getting forward way too much, way towards our box. And the fact that Kane had to make a last-ditch tackle, well, not last-ditch, but, a yellow card challenge in our last third. And also Son bringing down a player in the box. That just tells you everything you need to know. Kane and Son, our 2 forward players, are making fouls right near our box. What is that all about?
Yeah.
So there was something seriously wrong with the tactics first half, and I'm not going to sit here and
But James,
blame
just quickly,
Conte.
do you remember when that goal went in? Do you remember all of a sudden though, they even in the first half? I know we only had I think we had about 8-9 minutes or whatever it was, at a certain stage, to kind of get back into it. But all of a sudden, it felt like they kind of were opening up Newcastle, and that's even why I remember Dave and I were really upset, because you even mentioned it where it was only 2 minutes of extra time, and I kind of was just injury time, and I was just kind of St. Maximin had been on the ground for 4 minutes because of a concussion. There was also 2 goals in in the first half. There were some other, I think, stoppages of play as well.
They were looking at the VAR decision from the free kick they scored for
VAR decision as well, and they only gave 2 minutes of injury time. And the fact that Dave and I were upset that there was only 2 minutes of injury time, I think shows that it wasn't even just the second half where we came out to be a different team. Maybe it was just the moment that equalizer came in, we just started playing differently, or maybe Newcastle just became worse. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the thing I'd add to that is I'd say the thing that annoys me of Spurs the most, and of course I'm absolutely buzzing we've won, but the thing that annoys me about Spurs the most, and it's been the same for many years, is for some reason it takes us to concede to then sort ourselves out. And it's as soon as we concede, it's like, oh, light dawns on Marblehead. We need to suddenly start playing football. Well, why is that the case? Why can't we score first and then take the game to them? It always seems to be, Spurs playing bad. It's going to come. We're going to concede. And then, suddenly we're going to try and come back and win the game 5-1. Absolutely fantastic. Like brilliant entertainment, but not good for my blood pressure first half.
I don't think that was the case, though, to be fair. Like, when I look at the game, it's like Newcastle had a game plan in the first half, and it worked to an absolute T. They got the goal. Now, obviously, they weren't expecting to concede straight away, and what the famous saying is, keep it tight for the next 5 minutes after scoring, because you're most vulnerable to concede after scoring a goal, and that's exactly what happened with Newcastle. But I think they went into that, and they think their game plan was working, pressing us high up the field, because maybe in the first half, maybe we weren't as good getting up the field, breaking through some of that press at times when they were pressing us. And I think in the second, at half time, I think their mentality changed. I think they sniffed the result here. And I think they decided they'd go for the game, because if you look at the back line, they pushed completely higher up in the second half compared to how deep they were in the first half. And that's where you look at Doherty's goal. That came from space. You look at Sonny's goal. That came from space in behind. Bergwijn's goal in the second half came from all the space in behind. And I genuinely think they sniffed the result, and they went at us. They pressed us a lot more in the second half. They thought they had us rattled. Look, our big players stepped up, came to the fore. We played through the press, exploited the space in behind, and that's where we won the game.
But we weren't. I do agree, but we also weren't getting that space first half at all. It took those goals, that goal before half time, to actually open the game up. And like you said, we had them rattled as soon as it went 2-3-1. But I do still believe. I was just going to say, I still do strongly believe that Spurs many times have to concede to then sort themselves out. I don't know what it is.
No, I was sorry, James. I was just going to say, it seems to be that thing where a team, if they need to get this belief that, they can take the game to Spurs, and then all of a sudden we just torch them every time that they try to make that sort of kind of silly mistake. It does seem like in order to sort of beat us, you need to really just keep the entire team behind the ball for the entire 90 minutes, and you will probably stifle us, for the whole 90 minutes. But the moment you try to even open up the game a little bit, it seems like that's what we're just looking for, and we just kind of snap on a team all of a sudden. Yeah. I think you're right. Yeah. Maybe that's what it takes. Is maybe it just takes us to get punched in the mouth first with a goal, and then the team gets a little bit of belief that they can get something in the game, and then we just absolutely burn them after that.
100%.
The bottom dude here with the super chat says the game completely changed once Kane dropped deep and started passing the ball like a prime Pirlo. In fact, better. The team reacts better than Conte's Inter elite mentality. Look, that second half performance from Kane was unbelievable. The amount of times he was on the dropping deep, spraying play, putting people in behind. He had a help in a couple of the goals as well, even though some of them he would have been the pass before the assist. I thought he played very well yesterday, and like I said, I think he sacrificed his own ego on the goals aspect in terms of to be able to drop deep and help the team. Look, in the first half, I agree with you, the bottom dude. I think Kane was playing a bit more up top. I think he had a shot in the first half. He kind of screwed wide in that, and it wasn't working. But in the second half, look, they pressed us. Their back line played a much higher line. Then Kane dropped. He got on the ball. And I you know what? I think that comes down to elite mentality to Kane, to be honest with you, because he probably seen, he's like, okay, they're dropping deep. Now the space is in behind like we want. There's no better person on the pitch to make that pass than me. So I'll drop in deep. I'll get the ball, carbon copy of what we've done against West Ham. Son then comes into the middle and occupies the middle, and I'll show you that tomorrow. What I mean by that, because there's other times where Kane is out on the right-hand side playing the ball and Son is already in the middle. So you're kind of filling that void that Kane leaves when he drops deep. And look, he put the balls in behind for people to go and get the goals. So for me, look, I do think he was man the match. And I get it. There is a case for Son for man the match. He got a goal. He got an assist. He played the pass to Kulu before Kulu done the 1-2 with Doherty for the third goal. But I just think Kane was the man that dropped deep and started off a lot of these attacks. And for me, I'm giving him man of the match.
I say that one touch by Sonny alone, though, for that one goal, and then he finished it with the left as well. It's probably every father's dream, to see if your kid could do that, with his weak foot.
You can't miss. You're between the penalty spot and the 6-yard box. You can't miss.
It was a beautiful touch. I must just say, Deb, it felt like, even it just felt like a cricket in the stadium, like just the most, glued touch of the ground. Just making a case maybe later, but we'll get into it, the bottom dude.
Yeah.
But I would say maybe what helps that Pirlo effect for Kane is maybe when you see 3 or 4 runners, Dave, all making the same run and behind, it kind of makes that distraction more or less, for Kane to be able to drop deep and pick up the ball. Even I remember that one stage where Emerson was driving with the ball and he saw Kane was dropping deep and Emerson just back heels it to him, even though he had all the space in the world to run with it, because they just know that Harry Kane is just going to pick somebody out, whoever's just going to make that surging run forward.
Yeah. And by the way, we will get into it, but Kane dropping deep, Son coming in and filling up the striker void, and Kulusevski playing well. It's not the only reason why we won that game, by the way. Another part of the reason why we won that game is because Matt Doherty was providing us what Sergio Reguilon is providing us, which is that extra outlet when Son does drop into the middle to occupy the space that Kane leaves when he drops deep. Reguilon is tasked to create that sort of winger, that outside option. And that's what Doherty done in the second half yesterday. When you look at Son's goal, Doherty was also there on the overlap just in case the ball went by Sonny. And he was also there for his diving header that Son, it kind of went by him and he got the diving header and put it into goal. So he's another part of the reason as well. But big up the bottom, dude. I hope you're
really appreciate it. The bottom, dude.
I really do appreciate the support, brother.
Great.
We have Moondog. We have Moondog. Sorry, go on.
I said just great comment as well at the bottom, dude. You got a good discussion going with Dave. It triggered the juices, and Dave to start talking about, Harry Kane all of a sudden.
Moondog says, "All right, guys, we can get third." Look, part of me thinks it, yes. Part of me believes it, yes. But look, I'll take 4. If we get third, it's a bonus for me, to be honest with you, Moondog. But look, it's definitely open. Chelsea lose another, we win one. I mean, look, it definitely opens it up for sure, Moondog. It definitely does. But big up, brother. I really do appreciate the support. I gave my Harry Kane plaque another kiss before bed last night as well. In fact, I was feeling that good. I gave my Robbie Keane coaster another one as well. So big up, Moondog. Hope you're keeping well. We have On Your Bike, Scott. I think Davies had his best game for us. What's your thoughts, Jack? You can take this one away.
Don't want to spoil it too much, Scott, but, I'm going to make a big case that, Ben Davies, actually did a lot of good things that maybe just didn't meet the eye. Maybe even the stats don't meet it. I just was actually very impressed by Ben Davies. He just seemed like he was having a game just playing out of his skin, to be honest. I just didn't really recognize him. It looked like he was standing 2 inches taller as well. And I'll talk about it a bit later, but I think that equalizer, you just can't overlook it. It came in the most needed time possible, and probably without that equalizer, might have been a very different game. But I'm going to talk about it later, Scott. But you and I are on a similar wavelength today, my man. Good to see.
I was just gonna add to that. I was gonna say it's probably in his top 3 best games. But for me, there's one that stands out. I don't know if you guys remember it. I think it was 2 seasons ago in the Cup against Stoke. He scored that absolute banger from long range. Do you remember?
Oh, yeah, one of his only good games that season. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, so that's the one I'd say. That's the one that stands out.
I like that. It's actually probably tougher to remember the good game and the stand.
You have to go back 2 years to find it. That's how bad it's been. But he's had a good season this season.
Yeah, listen, it's like Harry Winks. You talk about 2017 Real Madrid and Fulham in 2019. I mean, it's like the history books. Like, it's unbelievable.
No, for sure.
Love it,
look,
Scott,
Davies actually had a very good game yesterday. Look, I will get into it when we come to Davies, but I seen something yesterday in the first half that I looked at and I thought that's very much like Romero. It was good. It was good. And he actually had a very good... No, I'm not. No, look, that's never going to happen because Romero's on Mars. He's not even on this planet. Ben Davies is. Look, for me, it was Romero-esque. I'm by no means comparing him to Romero. I'm not that far delusional, James. Big up your bike, Scott.
Big up, Scott. Love it.
Legend.
And then the bottom do it says Kane will score a lot of goals next season and continue to assist. Conte strikers always do extremely well. Tevez, Llorente, Costa, Lukaku proves that. Well, I mean, look, Lukaku's the biggest one. Look what happened since he's come to the Premier League. I mean, he's just not the same player. Tevez, unbelievable player. That guy was going to score goals no matter who managed him. To be fair, same as that Diego Costa. Same as him, he was always going to score goals as well. And Llorente, look, he done well for Tottenham. Jack, what's your thoughts?
Yeah. I feel like what we need maybe, alongside, a Kane is perhaps, somebody that can be that, that I don't know. It's tough. Do you go for somebody that can be that guy that can run in behind, for Kane at the end of games? Do you need somebody, that can be that big man alongside Kane? A lot of people are kind of, backing Belotti to be the next Llorente. All I can say is what's really ridiculous, I would say, about Harry Kane is that feels like anybody can sort of partner him, even whether it be a slow big man or whether it be, a speedy, clever, intelligent player like Sonny. So I would say, Dave, or to the bottom, Duda, Kane, it's the best striker of my lifetime. Probably going to be the best striker of my entire lifetime, to be fair. At Spurs, I really doubt anybody will ever be better. And you could even make the case, that, he's going to be standing alongside Jimmy Greaves as easily the best of all time, no question. So yeah. I don't know, to bottom Duda. It's tough to say, but hopefully we can find somebody that can maybe replace Harry Kane in the future. That would be my big hope, is that maybe the new number 9 of the future is someone that's really well rated, someone that's really talented, who can easily step into the first team if need be, but can also be maybe one for the future as well.
Yeah. Big up the bottom. Really do appreciate the support.
But he seems to love his strikers as well. Yeah, like you said, the bottom Duda. I mean, it seems like Conte seems to have, big, kind of love kind of moments with the strikers, seems to, kiss them goodnight and, tucks them, to bed, Dave. He's always talking to them in the morning, asking them about the family and everything. So the bottom Duda's spot on.
No, a little early prediction. Do you know what I think we're seriously going to go for in the summer? Although it depends on funds and everything else and who we sell. I do think if we're going to actually see like Kane go, I don't even think he can get to another level. But if we want to see Spurs to get to another level, I think Lautaro Martinez over Dybala. That's just a bit of a controversial opinion. I think Lautaro Martinez would complement Kane so well. And then obviously you could argue, how do you fit Son and Kulusevski in there? But we've got to build a squad. Like, we can't just build a starting level. We need a squad as well. And Lautaro Martinez is that player, like you said, Jack, that kind of can drop deeper and then play off Kane and run and make those darting runs along with Son. Just imagine. I mean, that would be amazing.
Yeah. I just want to say to everybody, the date for the derby has been announced. It is the 12th of May. It is the game after we play Liverpool. It's a Thursday night, and I think it's a 7:45 p.m. kickoff. So... Look, it's after the Liverpool game. It is not ideal, to be honest with you. I think we have Liverpool. They have, I think someone said it there in the comments, Leeds. They have Leeds. Big up 24 Z Beats. They have Leeds. So, yeah, look, it's
surprising, the cowards who run away the first time, Dave. They get the, the better, they get the better fixture as well.
Yeah. No, it's absolutely ridiculous.
Thursday night as well for a derby is it's a joke. No, this is going to be the police's absolute worst nightmare as well. But I mean, yeah, back to the football in terms, that is not good, especially with them having the favourable fixture before.
I mean, how can you get rewarded for blatantly running scare and manipulating the rules? How can you reward them for that? It's absolutely ridiculous. And this goes to what I keep saying all the time. I feel like everybody hates Spurs, and I feel like every time the Premier League or the FA or anybody like that get a chance to do something, punish Spurs, they just do it. And it pisses me off. You have a club that blatantly manipulated COVID rules to their benefit and exploited them to their benefit whilst loaning out players, whilst selling players and saying we don't have enough players to fulfill the fixture. And then they get the fixture put in a favourable position. I really hope Leeds absolutely wallop them that weekend and stun them so bad. I really do. Because they deserve it. But look, life will deal with them. They're not getting top 4. God will deal with them. That's bullshit. Pissed off with that. No, that gets on my tits. That does.
Leeds at home as well for them. It says it's a home fixture as well. Leeds at home.
But hopefully these fitness energies, fitness levels will be with them that game. It's absolutely ridiculous how they get rewarded.
The question you got to ask is, when was the last North London derby at 7:45 p.m? Like, they're always 12:30 kickoffs or 4 o'clock kickoffs. They're never ever late games. They're never late games. The only late games in derbies, London derbies recently, has been a couple of Chelsea games, been late, and they've been in the cup. Other than that, you just don't have a derby midweek Thursday. It's just not ideal for anyone other than Arsenal. It's just unbelievable.
I mean, like, you even go back to the Lasagna gate back then when we were qualifying for Champions League. Food poisoning, the FA know about it, and they delayed kickoff or something like that. I can't remember. Was it delayed kickoff, James?
What was that? What back in the when Arsenal did us? Yeah. I think it was. You're right. Yeah, it was unbelievable. And then we lost to, was it West Ham? It was just it was a joke.
We were looking to postpone the game to the next day, and they wouldn't do it because they wanted all the games to finish on that day, and ideally they wanted them all to finish on that play at the same time. So they made us play the game, but it kicked off a little bit later. Knowing we had a squad full of food poisoning, it's just a piss take at this stage. You want to protest against anybody, go and protest against that they're biased against Spurs. It really annoys me. It really does. Oh, how did it keep getting rewarded? Like, it's so annoying. I know his hair can't be moved, but stop rewarding the guy. But look, we're going to move on. We'll start getting into the player ratings, Jack. So we'll start getting into them. And look, I've gone 4 or 5. Jack has gone 4 or 5. Looking at them, Jack did ask me, and looking at it, I probably would change it to a 6 because maybe I thought it was a good second half. But
I'll make the case for the 5 here, Dave. I'll make it more passionately. I just feel, I know it's a good free kick position, but it came from somebody that you probably, I don't know. Fabian Schär, like I think I said this during the stats with Jack. I actually did rate, kind of his on the ball ability. He's technically a good player. He can hit, some bangers. But like when I really look at the shot that he went for, when I really look at it, it really is just a keeper's mistake. I don't think you really have to beat up on Lloris too much for it. But if you're really starting everybody off on, some sort of base marker of around a 6, I just feel like that was. Is a howler the right word? Probably not, but I think that is a bit of a mistake because you're getting beat basically at the post that you're already standing in. I mean, it just feels like maybe he got caught cheating a little bit. I don't really know what went through his head. It's hard to even tell. He also kind of sort of parried it into his own net, which then means he also got a decent hand to it as well. I just thought it's just not really a good moment that shined on Lloris, and it also was the goal that gave Newcastle a bit of hope, as well, that maybe if they just continued more of the same, just sitting back, sitting deep, that maybe, they could have won that game. So I just have to take maybe a bit of mark against Lloris here.
No, look, I agree with you on that. Look, for me, it's not ideal that in these high pressure games, you'd call them 8 cup finals now, but it was 9 yesterday. It's kind of like the person you're looking for to be the most strongest mentally and not make mistakes is your captain. It shouldn't have happened. You look at the goal. I mean, look, he couldn't see. In fairness, Newcastle blocked up the wall and all to that kind of post. His eye line very, very well. But at the end of the day, he should have saved it. It was down on the side where it's favourable to him. It's not gone up over the wall, bending. It's just hit with power to the side that he should be saving it on. And when you look at it, he took a little bit of a step or moved a little bit to the right. And then that really stopped him from getting, from saving it. But even then, I look at it, he's still got a strong hand on it. He just couldn't push it away. And for me, I just think it's a lapse in concentration. And looking at it, to be fair, the 5 is probably warranted.
Yeah.
James,
I want to James here. I think James has gone for a 6 here. He's gone for a 6.
I went for 6. I do understand your 5. I think, to be honest, a lot of people are saying 4s. Wow, that is really harsh. I think 6 because, I mean, I'd have to look at the stats in full, but I do remember him making 1 or 2 saves. However, also, I don't think it was fully Lloris's fault for that goal. Like, yes, he should have done better. It was his near side. The wall did their job. He just had to cover his left-hand side. He didn't. He let it slip. However, you got to ask yourself the question: why are we giving away?
He only faced 1 shot on target. He only faced 1 shot on target, James.
Okay, but why are we giving away a free kick on the 18-yard box? Like, it's always going to be a massive.
No, I agree with you. But at the end of the day, though, James, he's still going to have to face set pieces, whether we should be giving them away or not. He still has to face them, and he's there to save them.
Isn't it kind of like the Man City, though? Whichever one, isn't it like the Man City one, though, where we probably would have given him a bad rating had he not, though, made a world-class save sort of later against Gundogan. And that's just what didn't happen against Newcastle. He just didn't get the opportunity to really make a world-class save or anything, probably because of the defense that was so good in front of him. So I think that's why maybe he just didn't get the opportunity to really improve his rating. I guess, for me.
No, I think you guys are fair. Like I've just seen, one shot on target, 1 goal. Yeah, arguably, maybe looking at that stat, I'll probably put it back down to a 5. But if I am trying to justify the 6, it is the point that you shouldn't be giving away a free kick like that. It's just absolutely ridiculous.
It's a tough situation for any. It's any keeper is shaking in his boots, in that sort of situation. I agree.
Yeah. No, well, there you have it. Hugo Lloris, I think. Look, I think the chat wins out on this one. They want to give him a 4, so they're even more harsh than what we are. So we'll let people have the 4. But look, we'll move on. We'll keep moving.
I put a poll in as well, so we'll see how that ages. But to bottom Duda with the super chat saying Juve were poor yesterday and lost to Inter. Yeah. They are out of the title race. Paratici must be so excited. He must be planning his next Juve raid. I think they've been out of the title race for some time. They've even sort of salvaged, some sort of, comeback actually for the title, because to bottom Duda, I mean, at one stage I was absolutely worried that they were going to finish well outside of even European spots if you looked at them in the beginning of the season. But yeah, maybe Allegri, if they keep him around, who knows? Maybe he'll just be throwing about these Juventus players, kind of like towels, in the laundry or something, and then we just take a bunch of them in Paratici's little hamper. So hopefully we get a few more Juventus free checks and win the league next season, my man. But yeah, I would say Inter, though, hopefully they keep their title races alive, because definitely like to see them maybe take it away from Milan.
Yeah, I watched a bit of that game yesterday. Zakaria was unlucky, actually. He absolutely walloped the post after dancing through a couple of players. Look, if Juve players are of quality and Conte thinks they're going to improve the team and he wants to bring them in, I'm happy to bring them in. I don't care whether it's from Juve and Paratici was there before. If Conte thinks they're good enough to be here and then improve Tottenham, get them in. Big up the bottom, dude. I really do appreciate the support, my man. Absolute legend. And I forgot to say, everybody, make sure you do smash the like on the stream. It really does actually help us get more exposure, pushes us out to more people. So please do smash that like button. It is free to do as well. If you're enjoying the channel or you do enjoy it, smash that subscribe button if you haven't. And guys, like the button, do rooting, tooting, shooting, Putin, and on your bike, Scott, guys. Feel free to get your super chats in and help support the channel.
Absolutely. Really do appreciate it, to bottom Duda. I guess moving on to the next one, bit of Serie A talk. I like it as well, mixing things up. Going to Romero here. I figured we'd start off with the center backs. With Romero, I don't really know if it was a 9, because we have to, think about some people who to give man of the matches to. It felt like though 5 different people could have been a 9, James. I think Romero, when I looked at the stats, I think he, might have led in tackles and interceptions. I think he had the most long passes completed as well. But I think you could make the case for a 9, because it just felt like so many players could have been like man of the match today. And I've heard a few people say Romero. What are your thoughts on Romero? So I'm going to go to your player rating as well.
Yeah, I was just going to say I'd go right in between. I'd go for the 8.5. I'd go for the 8.5 based on the fact, I mean, you'll see in a minute who my man of the match is, but 8.5 just because how good was he? Like, when we were falling apart first half, he was really holding it together. Like, that block was just ridiculous. The reactions for that block, I'm going to say it was world class, Dave. We had the debate. It was world class.
I do know what you're talking about.
The reactions, he was so quick. He got his whole body in the way. It came, I think, off his leg in the end. It was just, that's what we've been missing for so long. Like, someone to put a last-ditch tackle in if it is going really badly. And it was going badly in the first half. Like we know, Newcastle did get in a couple of times. And maybe Lloris would have had something else to do if Romero didn't block that. I reckon it was probably going in. But Romero, for me, is a contender. He was my second highest rated player, joint, actually. But he was just an absolute Rolls Royce yet again. I can't remember the last time he didn't play well. I don't think he hasn't not played well. He's just unbelievable, and 8.5 for me.
Love it.
Yeah, look, for me, I actually thought he had a very good game, to be honest with you. And look, Jack, absolutely brilliant statue part to the table, by the way. I love them. And for me, look, you look at it, Newcastle pumped the ball along straight from kickoff. Romero won the header, setting the tone. And, you absolutely love that. He sets the tone straight away. You're not winning anything down this side. You're not winning anything in the air against me. Wins that first header. That is so important. Even down to grassroots football, the first thing you're told is win your first battle. And he done that. Then, straight away after that, he leaves something on Maximum. Straight away, St. Maximum, the first chance he gets, cleans him out, leaves something completely on him, and lets him know you're not having any joy down this side today. Especially, you may come down in past Emerson, but you're not coming past me. Again, sets the tone, sets the standards. Absolutely, I absolutely love that. And then the great block James was talking about, and yourself, Jack, were talking about, that was actually on 21 minutes and 49 seconds into the game. And I absolutely love that. And the reason why I remember it is because Jamie Carragher made a great quote, which I absolutely loved. But even before that block he made, Newcastle went to drill in across, and he made the header. And then when the ball went back over to that side, and they did get in behind Doherty and Davies, Romero was there to make that block. But Jamie Carragher says, I think you just see the difference between a good defender and a bad defender, you know? And it was an absolutely amazing block. And if you go back and look at the goal, he anticipated that ball getting in behind Doherty and Davies. He left where his man was and made that effort to get in behind and get across. He read the game. It's absolutely unbelievable. And James, I know you don't want to say it, but he's world class, lad. I'm sorry, but he is. And look,
he bullied St. Maximin, Dave, as well. Like, you know, similar to kind of Antonio. You know, he made, you know, St. Maximin, you know, not really want to play football, kind of like Antonio. I swear he could have his own highlight reel, Christian Romero, of just bullying Antonio alone, you know, in games. But St. Maximin also looked very defeated as well.
Look, for me, he just set the standard and the tone of the game straight away by cleaning out Maximum, by winning his first aerial duel, getting his block in, and even for Ben Davies' goal, Son put the corner in, he went and attacked it. Dyer ended up recycling it, went back out to Sonny, he put the cross in, and Davies got his goal. But if Romero didn't attack that corner the way he did, and with the hunger and the viciousness he did, that ball wouldn't have been able to be recycled. So, I mean, all around, I actually thought Romero had a very good game.
Probably most people have gone for a 9 here. Most people have gone for a 9 here. It seems like maybe the 8s, you know, are a bit, you know, maybe Dave, we're just saving room, you know, for all the people who we want to probably give, you know, the man of the match to with the 9s. That's what it seems
Listen,
like. Probably.
I was just going to say, it's nice to discuss this, because at the end of the day, you guys have put 8 for that, and maybe you're probably thinking you should have done it higher. Maybe I should have gone lower for Lloris. So listen, we're figuring it out on an average, I think, here.
I don't really do 8.5s as well, you know, because I just feel like, you know, it's no fun in the 8.5s, you know, in my opinion. You know, you gotta put yourself in one camp or the other as well. Everybody's put themselves in the 9 camp, clearly as well. But I am going to move on to Emerson with this one. Dave and I have both given 7s to Emerson. To be fair to him, not really a lot that he was really bringing that was going forward, especially before, you know, really the goals really went in. But not really anything that I thought he really did anything defensively wrong. I feel like, you know, he didn't really get tortured that much, you know, by St. Maximin. I mean, St. Maximin, Dave, he dribbles past, I think, more people in Europe than, you know, like per 90. He is practically the best guy in the world when it comes to dribbling past his defender. And I saw, you know, at least from FB Ref, that Emerson, he only got dribbled past 1 time. And I think the players that actually got dribbled past more was weirdly Eric Dyer for some reason, which I'm not sure who it was there. But Emerson, I thought, you know, actually handled St. Maximin actually quite well. Probably having, though, you know, maybe Romero alongside you, though, really, you know, makes things a lot easier. I would probably argue as well. I think anybody could probably look really good alongside big Christian Romero. But yeah, Dave, for me, I think it's a Royale 7, you know, nice goal, you know, nice little finish, kind of bullied Matt Target there. But I also didn't think he did too much wrong with also handling St. Maximin, which is a very tough person to come up against. Like I said, dribbles past like 5 guys a game, whatever the stat was.
No, look, for me, I didn't think Emerson had his worst performance by any means. I thought, look, he was okay on the ball yesterday. I actually thought he was okay on the ball. He done the simple thing. He gave it to players who know are better passers than him. I have no problem with that. At the end of the day, people have said that if you can't cross, give it to someone else who can. So I have no problem with that. Look, the first opening, I think it was first 2 minutes, St. Maximum had a bit on the ropes, kind of cutting inside him and stuff like that. But he dealt with it very well all game. And look, at the end of the day, I'm not going to go into it now. I will go into it tomorrow on the show. But his goal, that is something off the training pitch. And I'll explain why tomorrow. I'm not even going to tell people. That's a little teaser. But it's straight off the training pitch, his goal. And by the way, he was being pulled back, by the way.
Yeah,
he was being pulled back when he got the touch
strength
onto that to put it into the net. And that's not an easy thing to be able to be dragged out of it and still make connection on the ball and put it into the back of the net. And he done it. So for me, I'm going to stick with my 7, no matter what anyone says to me.
I love it, Dave. Stick with the 7. James, about to pull up yours. Just give me a second here.
7 as well. 7 as well. Yes.
Gone for the 7 as well. I like it. What's your thought behind it?
I thought, especially what Dave said about at the start, he did get done a couple of times by St. Maximin, but actually he did deal with it pretty well. And actually, I thought out of the players in the first half that I said were just not on it and they weren't getting going, he was actually one of the ones that was actually showing a bit of fight. You could see he was almost like thinking, right, I need to prove a point to the fans today. I need to run at every ball. I need to put in all these tackles. And he was almost like the kid in glass that was proving a point yesterday. I really
Even
did
the haircut
feel like
was better than Joe Linton's as well. You know, he's trying to prove every point.
yeah. The haircut. Again, Mourinho, I prefer not to speak on that one. But listen, no, he did put in 100%, especially that first half when some of the players kind of didn't, and that's why I'm giving him a 7, and obviously a goal as well. It'd be harsh to kind of go lower than a 7. I do think the 5s in the chat are staggering.
When someone scores, they automatically get a 7.
I feel like that's the Emerson agenda coming out a little bit there. Like everyone is against Emerson at some points. Like we've all turned on Emerson at points in this season, and I do think you have to kind of, from a non-biased point of view, go, well, actually, he was pretty solid yesterday. He did the job.
We've all been hurt by Emerson.
Yeah. He filled in for Doherty, who was unbelievable on the left wing back. I mean, just for me, 7, simple as that.
Look, we have to remember as well with this guy, right? This is a guy that has been hugely criticised by pundits, by fans, right? He hasn't played for a while, and he's been asked to come into a game where the pressure's on us. We're looking for top 4, and he come in and he filled the role. He didn't really let anything happen down his side at all. And that's all you can ask for. If a player isn't playing, at least come in and fill in a role to an adequate level that's not costly. And that's what he done.
Absolutely. 100%.
He wasn't exceptional. Don't get me wrong. He wasn't exceptional. He wasn't great by any means. He probably, bar Lloris, probably our worst player on the pitch, to be honest with you. But at the end of the day, we've seen this season when you bring in Sanchez and Weeks and stuff like that, that the drop-off is so costly. This guy come in today and it wasn't costly. Or came in yesterday and it wasn't costly. It's all we can ask for.
Exactly. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, as soon as Reguilon's back, Reguilon goes left wing back and Doherty goes right wing back. But listen, like you said, Dave, he did a job when needed. It was nice to see, like, everyone before the start. I mean, when we posted the lineup on Spurs Related, we had about 100 people going, why the F is Emerson playing? Why didn't we play Rodon at left centre back and Davies left wing back? And I'm just thinking, listen, if we played Davies left wing back, you know, we probably would have had some trouble against St. Maximin. That guy would have skinned that boy back to Wales. Like, it would have been unbelievable, honestly. So at the end of the day, it was the right move. Conte again, masterclass. Emerson is he got brought in as a right back, didn't he, under Nuno at a 4 the back, and he's playing at a 5 the back.
right back, basically a B-Tech Jose right back.
Exactly, and he did the job yesterday, and that was all that mattered.
Yeah. Look, and that's a fair
and he loves
question.
The club as well. Even the celebration, he doesn't run and do, you know, some big celebration or anything. He celebrates with the, you know, his teammates. I think I've noticed, Dave, he's kind of a bit like Lucas Moura as well. In the case, he seems to be someone that just enjoys, you know, being around the team. Seems to have a lot of friends in the dressing room as well. Emerson, I don't know, like a kind of not a distraction or not, you know, a bad vibe in the dressing room. Sort of
rather than I was just going to say, rather than Lucas, I actually compare his kind of demeanor and attitude a bit like Aurier, because Aurier was very popular in the dressing room. A lot of the players did like him. And Emerson, you know, when he scored against, was it Brighton, and he just went absolutely mental. That's something Aurier would do, you know, when he did the, you know, ears in the Champions League, like, because everyone was in the press. He's so much like Aurier in that sense.
Well, hopefully nothing outside the dressing room happens like it did with Aurier as well.
I don't want to hear that. You're going to make me hate him, James. You're going to make me hate him. And Rudy, too, look, I want to say, my man, that is actually a fair question. Look, we did say we probably would change the Romero one to a 9, to be fair.
Everybody voted for a 9, so if I should have put a 10 in there. I should have put a 10 in there for that one. I think we could probably move on from Emerson, unless, you know, any other. I think, you know, I guess everybody, like, I know maybe people don't like Emerson, but to go lower than a 7, I think is just so harsh. Like, the guy scored a goal, and I think as well did not really get torched by St. Maximin as most people in the Premier League do per game as well, which I think just makes it also put things in perspective. But we do move on to Matt Doherty, which we given an 8 to. I honestly thought that assist to Emerson was actually a ridiculous cut inside by Matt Doherty. I didn't know he had it in him. That sort of, quick, bit of feet. Lots of times, Dave, instead of really, just getting stuck when he had to cut inside, I feel like what he did is actually he just cut inside early and then just would spray ball back into Hojbjerg, or even try to spray a ball all the way to Emerson to get things going. I actually thought, while he is really limited at that left wing back spot, there were lots of moments where I thought he was actually quite clever about it, where he just didn't get stuck. He didn't dribble himself into a position where they knew where he was going to go. He kind of was a bit, unpredictable. And also as well, took his goal well with that, bit of finish, showed a bit of also strength, as well on the fullbacks, Newcastle with that finish. But also I thought, what should have been assist to Emerson, I thought was also a bit of nifty kind of play from Doherty. But maybe we'll start with James first. James, I mean, what's your thoughts on Doherty's performance? Let's see what you've given him. I'm going to go.
Yeah, I've already looked. I gave him an 8.5. So I know you don't like the 0.5s, Jack.
No, we don't do 25s over here, then.
Yeah, maybe I have to amend my my ratings next time I come on this show.
Would you go to an 8, or would you go all the way to the big 9?
Okay, right. So for any ones I've done 0.5, I'll round it up or down for the sake of this. I think I would round it down to an 8 just because I don't think it quite warrants a 9, because I think if we're saying 9 in that performance, he would have to probably keep a clean sheet. I know not necessarily directly his fault, but I think you've got to base it on a lot of the team. A lot of the ratings, although it's individual ratings, sometimes it is influenced by the other players, whether that's just part of football, isn't it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Harry Kane might not get a 9 or whatever we're going to rate him if the players didn't finish his passes. That's just how it is. But Emerson, I've got Emerson in my head now, like the guy's living rent-free in my head. But Doherty, no, like he was, like you said, that cutback was absolutely class. And we're starting to see the player we really did sign from Wolves. I don't know where he's been for like 2 years or however long it's been, but listen, he was absolutely brilliant yesterday. I'm absolutely loving the fact also that he went to the left wing back position and did a job there. Like, that versatility is not easy, especially from a right-footed player going at left wing back. He was just brilliant. He seemed to be everywhere, forwards, backwards. The goal was brilliant. The assist was brilliant. I think if you get in a goal and assist automatically, Dave, going on this kind of like, if you score, you've automatically got at least a 7. I think a goal and assist is automatically I can't do 7.5, an 8. Like, it has to be. And that, for me, Doherty was brilliant. And 8 for me. 8 for me.
Yeah, look, for me, when it comes to Doherty, look, I'll get the negatives out of the way first. And he did give away the ball a couple of times in the first couple of minutes, which I wasn't happy about. But apart from that, look, the second half was a massive improvement. Look, first half, I was actually getting really annoyed at him, to be honest with you, because when the team were sitting in the way Newcastle were at times, it's the onus is on you to try and beat your man, to be able to create that space to make something happen. And he was never going to go on his left foot because he has no left foot. He doesn't trust it. I'll watch this guy for Ireland. He doesn't have one. So he ended up just passing inwards or backwards every single time. And it was quite annoying, to be honest with you. But look, then you look at the second half. He started bombing forward with confidence as well. And with belief that he was going to get on the end of something. And you look at Sonny's goal. If you go back and look at Sonny's goal, we'll be showing it tomorrow. Doherty was still making the same run that he made for his goal. He could have easily come out of the game at a second goal. And then he took his goal very well. He just, Kane put in a beautiful ball. I think it was intended for Sonny. It went by him. And Matt Doherty was there to get the diving header on it and put it home. And then you look at the assist. I mean, look, it was absolutely brilliant. The reason why he chopped back is because he has no left foot. That's why he didn't cross it on his left foot, but he did chop it back, put it onto his preferred right foot in the right time, and put a nice cross in for Emerson's goal. And then you've seen the two of them celebrating, even though they're competing for the same place. It's absolutely brilliant to see. So for me, Matt Doherty, he got his reward for offering us what sort of Regulon offers us, to be honest, and I'm happy with the 8 for him.
What do you think he did differently, Dave, that, maybe all of a sudden, allowed him to kind of be a bit more creative, like maybe Regulon has on that side for us, as well as Sessegnon?
Look, I don't think it was necessarily him that done anything different. it was Newcastle that I thought done something different. Like I said, in the second half, they played a very high line. And we started playing like we did against West Ham, where Kane was dropping deep. Some would fill the middle. That creates the space over on that hand side, and Doherty just used it and went for it. I don't think it's anything he done differently, because in the first half, they were more compact, sat across their box, kept it tight, and Doherty didn't fancy beating his man. But in the second half, apart from that cross he put in, tell me an occasion where you remember him having to beat his man. He can't, because all the space was there on the left-hand side for him to run into, because Son sucked their defenders inside when he went inside.
Here's some more compliments, for Matt Doherty. Debatab Duda saying Doherty can be Conte's Asamoah, Quadwo Asamoah. I remember, big throwback. A real workhorse, he says. The squad depth is getting better and scarier. Is he? I think Asamoah was a decent player, actually, in his day. I actually really liked Asamoah. He also was playing in that sort of vintage 3-in-the-back system over in Italy, before it was really that popular, really in the Premier League, you could say. So Asamoah may be more of a relic, you could actually say, of kind of a player. But I've always really liked that guy. I don't think if Doherty were going to play like Asamoah's ability, I think we'd be seeing maybe a whole lot sooner. But it's nice to see that maybe Doherty is all of a sudden, finding a bit of comfort, and is maybe finding, good performances on the back of other good performances, instead of them just being kind of spaced out from each other. But James, just quickly here, what do you think of the squad depth? Do you think it is already looking a lot better? I feel like it needs to be improved massively for it to really look scary.
I'm glad you said that at the end, because I was going to say, like, at the end of the day, we haven't actually
It looks
signed
better,
him.
but it needs to start looking scarier. I'm not sure if it's scary, the squad.
Yeah, we haven't signed any more players since, like, since January, of course. And we know that we're 3, 4, even maybe 5 players short to be a scary squad, like you said. And it has to be good players. Like, it has to be class players that are going to be able to fit into that starting 11. And it's nice to know that Doherty, even sometimes Emerson, and the squad depth that we've now got with sort of Skip hopefully coming back soon. It's nice we have that squad depth there, but we are still quite a few players short. So I wouldn't quite say scarier. I would say better and maybe more surprising than we thought previously. And the other thing about Doherty is last 6 Premier League games, 6 goal contributions. Now that is brilliant. That is absolutely brilliant for a wing back. 6 goal contributions in 6 games, which is 4 assists and 2 goals. I mean, just brilliant. It's just what we need in the squad. Whether he starts, going forward, or whether we get a better right wing back in the summer, it's just nice that he's finally woken up. And I really, really do hope he doesn't go back into these sort of bad habits. But I think we're through that now. I think we're through that.
Look,
big up the bottom, dude.
It should never take any player a year and a half to arrive at a big club like Tottenham. But since the Leicester game, he has had a good run of consistent games, a very good run of consistent games. I find it hard to get on that. Look, I do apologise. He is starting to do a lot better than what he was previously doing. But when I look at him, can we still do better than him? Yes, we can. Can we still do better than Emerson? Yes, we can. And I just find it, I'm on the hype train just because it's like, I'm on the love bug and everything else. But I find it hard to still, he has to do this until the end of the season. If not, if it's just a period of 6 games and he goes missing till the end of the season, I find it hard to get on the hype train. I want him to do it until the very end of the season to kind of, even for him to warrant staying here next year.
I think you're right, Dave. And I think also to add to that is he's got to do it to the end of the season, and as well, not make any mistakes to stay on that hype train, because at the end of the day, we've said it time and time again, whether it's been on this channel, Spurs related, whoever it may be, we say it so many times. There's always a player in this, like 4 or 5 banker players that will make a mistake, whether it's Dyer, whether it's Doherty, whether it's Winks. We know they all have even Davies, they have mistakes in them, unfortunately. And we just really hope that it's not Doherty. Well, we hope it's no player, right? But Doherty is the player that, in terms of this argument here about him, being the starting for next season, he can't make any mistakes. He has to have 8, 9 out of 10 performances. And just one more thing, I think Toffee put it slightly earlier in the chat. Big up Toffee. He said he would give Doherty a 9. It's his best performance yet. I'd say Doherty's best performance was against Everton at home. That was when he was unbelievable. His vision to pick out Kane for that unbelievable volley across goal. I think he assisted 2 in that game. That was his best game, but I think this is up there as well. But yeah.
I agree. I think a good way to wrap it up there on Doherty as well. Probably you could make the case again, I think you could easily make the case maybe for a 9. I think that would be stretching it. But again, I think like the theme of this whole performance is not really any poor performances to pick out from, and a lot of really amazing performances, close to man of the match, almost worthy performances. But here's my time, Dave. Here's my time for the one and only, the Ben Davies argument here. I really, and anybody that is, Ben Davies fan, I really would appreciate, the help. I certainly am not really ever been a part of the Ben Davies fan club. Certainly have been probably on the opposite end of it at most times. But I really thought, Dave, this was an immense performance from Ben Davies. He was doing things that normally I wouldn't associate with him. He was a lot more aggressive when he won the ball airily in the air. He was ridiculous. Especially that flicked on header, I thought for a guy of his size was actually quite impressive. As well. It was actually a striker's sort of kind of flicked on header as well, kind of finish. And he also just looked like he really needed it and deserved it, by his celebration. Almost looked like maybe he had a bit of a tear that was shed, when he embraced Eric Dyer by the looks of it. We've all been very hard on Ben Davies in the past, Dave. I'm going to look at the stats maybe a bit later just to check up on it. But maybe to verify anything I'm saying. But I thought, he helped out in the progression of play. Sometimes he makes those surging runs forward to help things out. I know we go crazy when Romero does it, but Ben Davies will do it at times as well. Yeah. I just feel like on the back of a lot of consistent performances of like 7 out of 10, sort of 8 out of 10s, maybe 6 out of 10s from Ben Davies, I think he's finally deserving of a 9. My final reason for it, Dave, is the whole reason I think we even made that sort of blitz of a comeback in the second half is because Ben Davies had that equalizer. And if he didn't have that class of a finish and that nice of a finish, I think we'd be talking about a whole different sort of game as well. So even though it wasn't the most pretty goal, it certainly wasn't the most pretty goal of the one that we scored. I think it was the most clutch goal that we scored. I think it was the most desperately needed goal, of course, as well. And it also kind of sparked, a bit of a resurgence even in the late end of the first half. So Ben Davies, I think, fully deserves, for me, a 9. And I'm even going to go as far as man of the match.
Was he better than Romero, do you think, Jack?
Was he better than Romero defensively? Probably not, because he didn't have nearly as tough of an assignment. I just think it's because the goal, Dave. I think it's because the goal. The goal, I think, carries a lot of weight with me. Because, again, I don't really think that result really happens if Ben Davies doesn't get that quick response, that quick equalizer. And I don't think it was an easy goal. I think it was a very difficult finish, one that is probably really hard to execute. And I think Ben Davies, we even spoke about it in the preview with Sean, Dave, like he actually could have a lot more goals than it really shows as well. So really proud of Ben Davies. Sorry, kind of.
I thought you were going to well up then, Jack. I thought, that sounds really emotional.
And it sounds like a huge proponent of the Ben Davies fan club. It sounds like I'm welling up for it. So yeah, I would say so Ben Davies. I think that goal carries a lot of weight, Dave.
I think Ariane from We Are Tottenham TV must have had a word.
It was an Oscar-worthy performance. It was an Oscar-worthy.
He's the only one that I've ever known to love Ben Davies as much. Him and John Fitzpatrick. Look, I agree with everything you said, but when I was looking at the ratings, I couldn't find it upon myself to give Davies a better rating than Romero, and that's why I've given him an 8. I just think Romero did have a better performance. Look, I agree with you on Ben Davies' goal. I mean, look, it was perfect timing. It was a sucker punch to Newcastle, and it really did get us back into the game. And if he didn't score it, would it have been a different game? Yes, it probably would have. But I just don't think he was better than Romero, and that's why I'm sticking with my 8. And look, his goal, Jack, was beautiful. Like you said, if a striker finished off the head like that,
like Cavani would finish something like that with his head.
No,
like
it was
a Cavani sort of finish. Yeah,
it was a great finish. But what I did like about him is there's once or twice during the game where the player was being passed into the Newcastle player's feet, and Ben Davies got ahead of him to take the ball off them and start driving us forward. And that's what I thought was very Romero-esque. He wasn't doing that before Romero got here. He sees Romero doing it. Now you see him doing it. And I mean, it's good. But I'm sticking with my 8. I can't give him more than Romero. I just can't do it.
Let's go. Let's see what James went for here. James, don't even spoil it for me.
It's
Let's
a
see what he's
0.5, so it's got to be rounded up or down. It's actually a 7.5.
7.5. Wow.
Yeah.
Are you rounding up to an 8 then, I'm assuming? Or are you going to round down? Are you going to just go two below me?
Do you know what? I wouldn't dare round it down based on your amazing speech, Jack, and also based on the chat. I feel like I'll get booted off this channel. But I'll round it up for an 8 for the sake of this channel. And I will explain why it's not a 9 or even a 10. For me, it's my argument about the clean sheet again, and it has to be said on that goal where we gave away the free kick. I'm not personally blaming Ben Davies. I'm not personally blaming Eric Dyer. But that front five, sorry, since Ben Davies quoting me on Spurs, what I say on Spurs related, I do say Ben Davies is paper over the cracks. And listen, the paper yesterday was strong paper, but we can see the paper can be torn. So I gotta say, the paper was strong today. No, Ben Davies always said it. But listen, when that free kick was given away, a lot of the defenders were just backing off. No one was making a challenge. And actually, Bentancur and Hojbjerg should have put a challenge in way before that. But then the back three were starting to back off. I was starting to think, like, are we actually going to tackle? I can't even remember who was running through, but it was just like someone had to put in a tackle. And that is why in the first half, it was all a little bit shaky around the back. So I'm going to have to give Ben Davies an 8. But I mean, it's still a brilliant 8, right? 8 is a fantastic rating. And I agree, Jack, that header was amazing. So well guided in. Like, it was actually really difficult because it did fizz in from Son. It was coming in at some pace. And the way he guided it in top right, it was lovely. Bit of a Conte there. But I've just got to say, an 8 before Ben Davies in the chat absolutely rinses me. I mean, Ben Davies in the chat's probably going to say 11 out of 10. But 8 seems a bit low. Wow. I mean, listen, I'm sticking with my 8.
Just quickly, Sava says, David, your verdict on Mr. Hollywood. Look, like I say here, it's seal of approval this season. The other 7 I still don't condone though. So, but yeah, this season, and that's all I can judge him on. Look, the last 7 haven't been acceptable for me, but this season has been acceptable. So.
Season, they've improved a lot when the nicknames, haven't been, cracked open, in a while. You really do. That must really say a lot, especially in the case.
Hollywood, that's Doherty, actually. Sorry, that was Doherty. Yeah, my bad. Yeah, no, look, when it comes to Doherty, look, just quickly, last year and a half, absolutely shocking. Wanted him gone. Since Leicester, he's done well. He's actually done extremely well. But like I was saying, I do think I want to see it between now and the end of the season for him to warrant to stay here. Just because a player's had 6 games, I don't think it warrants being a professional at Tottenham Hotspur. I mean, if you gave me 30-odd games, I'm sure I could find 6 good performances in there. So for me, he's got to continue until the end of the season, Sava.
Yeah,
nice. Yeah, why is he Misty Hollywood? Sorry, I don't get that one, Dave.
Because he was always acting like anytime the cameras pan to him, he always had that like acting face on.
He always makes that facial expression that he's working really hard. James, narrows the eyebrows.
Me, and then he just does shit. So that's what was pissing me off.
James, you know that face that he does. You know that face.
Yeah,
I know. It's just Mr. Hollywood. It's just Mr. Hollywood. But it looks like a lot of people, as much as they appreciated the Oscar performance, for the Ben Davies Academy, they've gone for an 8 by the looks of it, Dave. They all gone for an 8. The 9, though, 29% of people have gone for the 9. So I do appreciate their sympathies. I made a good case for it. It's just, I really think it's the best Ben Davies performance of my lifetime that I can remember. I know that Stoke City one does come to mind, but I just thought he was absolutely sensational. Ben Davies that I did not recognize is probably how I'd finish it.
I think we're developing a secret come out of the closet Ben Davies fan here, James.
No,
what do you think?
Never. Dave, I've called him Dave. Dave, this is getting a bit out of hand here.
Listen, Jack, I might have to pay for the YouTube Premium service just to clip the bit at the end where you choked up about saying it was a 9. Like, I thought you were going to cry, so I might.
Dave, I've called him the social distance defender, Dave. I've said that. I've called him Mr. Anonymous. I said Mr. 33 is not even a good enough nickname.
I know, credit where credit's due, though.
It's Mr. Useless, Dave. I've been on the opposite side of the camp, before. I've been almost practically protesting against Ben Davies at certain moments in time. But we move on to Bentancur. We've both given him 8s. I think this is plenty fair. A sensational, silky performance. from Bentancur. Big up, Ian. Sensational big performance from Bentancur. But it's been kind of consistent, this sort of kind of silky, I think, performance. But I'm going to go to James first on this one. I'm just going to pull up his one again.
No, we got a debate now. I've said 7.
What?
I have said 7.
Oh, comments absolutely rinse it.
Everybody,
I'm going to get absolutely peppered here. Listen.
You're lucky this isn't Judge Jody on Paxton Road. She would be.
Listen, I knew there'd be some debates today, so that's why, spice it up a little bit. But, I mean, crumbs, there's people saying 9s. I'm going to get absolutely slaughtered here. But I'm going to try and justify my point anyway, and I'll probably end up crying at the end and turning it to an 8. But the thing is, it's like what I said in that first half. Like, in that first half, you have to judge a game on 90 minutes, not 45 in the second half. Second half, 45. Like, of course, Bentancur, probably an 8 or a 9. But that first half, I'm using the example again, when they ran through a couple of times and we had to bring him down at the end. Kane had to make a yellow card challenge. Son had to bring someone down on the edge of the box. Hojbjerg and Bentancur probably should have broken up the play a little bit better first half. That is probably why my brain thought 7 this morning. I can see the chat is just absolutely rinsing me. So maybe I'm just going to end this and say, literally, maybe I'm going to push it to a 7.5, which then gets rounded up to an 8, because you've got that luxury on this channel. But listen, I've got to say, like, we were shaky first half. There's no getting around that. Like, I can't believe I'm trying to be critical on a 5-1 performance, but a better team, we could have been 2-3-0 down at halftime, and that's the fact. And that's because in the midfield, it wasn't strong enough. And we were, the fact that Joe Willett was running through a couple of times and stuff like that, you got to look at the midfield, guys. You have to. I'm sorry, you have to. But that's I'm not going to start talking anymore.
Those passes into the final third, James, but...
Correct me if I'm wrong. Did Bentancur not have a 90% pass accuracy yesterday?
Yeah, no, it was absolutely class. But what about the first half? Like, everyone's quick to forget the first half because
he completely took St. Maximum out of the game. It was delightful.
No, I think that was more Romero's doing, and that's why I gave Romero, the 9 I did.
Bentancur absolutely clattered St. Maximum on the edge of our box. He was down on the ground screaming for Mammy for about 10 minutes.
Listen, my point still stands about the fact that answer this question. Where was the midfield when Newcastle ran through those couple of times and then we had to bring them down at the edge of the box? Where was the midfield that was dealing with that?
Yeah, that's a fair point. But in every game, you're always going to have 1 or 2 or 3 occasions where that's going to happen, though.
But what I'm saying is, against a stronger opposition, it would have been 2 or 3-1 by half time. It would have been. Man City would have absolutely rinsed through that midfield in the first half. But second half, I back you guys. 8-9 for Bentancur and
we
Hojbjerg.
said, though, that midfield of Newcastle's, though, like we kind of previewed, is actually quite good on paper. And also the attack is actually quite good.
Joe Willett, come on.
Ryan Fraser under Eddie Howe is, probably the worst of them, but he's actually better under Eddie Howe. St. Maximin, like we said, best man on the fucking planet. That's getting past people. Joe Linton has had a huge resurgence, and Joe Linton always plays well against Spurs. And he, was starting in the midfield and was on a good bit of form. John Joe Shelby, is all of a sudden, he kind of decides when to play well. And then Joe Willock, who you would say has had good moments, against us, as well. And they could have gone for Bruno Guimaraes, who probably would have been a better choice. So I might, say to you, James, that Newcastle midfield and attack is a bit better than, giving it credit.
Yeah, but also when you come against Kevin De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva.
But but we're their bogey team, so you can't use Man City as the example. Man City, we wish we played them every week.
Okay. Would Thiago, Henderson and Fabinho have gone through them like butter in the first half? Yes, they would have done. They would have done because the midfield wasn't strong enough in the first half. It's a fact. Like we should have.
That's that's like pulling out your best card there, though. James. You're pulling out your ace card. I'm just saying. It was a good test. The Newcastle. You were just disregarding it. I think it was a good test. Not the best of tests, but a good test, I would say. Good test, nonetheless.
No, listen, I don't know. At the end of the day, Jack, maybe the controversial opinion of a 7 is probably up there with the controversial opinion of a Ben Davies 9 and the emotional speech. So we both win the Oscar on that one.
You just more tears next time, James. More tears next time, James, and you probably would have gotten us. We'll get it next time.
Look, for me, on Bentancur, I think he had, what, a 90% pass accuracy. Look, this guy has been at the center of everything good we do. He's 9 times out of 10, he's the one that puts that ball into Harry Kane that starts the most. Look, you do have to take notice of what James is saying about some of their players breaking through the middle in the first half. But on the flip side, look, you're going to get that throughout 90 minutes. But look, at the end of the day, I thought he had a good game. I thought he kept the ball moving. He had a shot in the first half that I was hoping that would go in.
Second most tackles and interceptions as well. Second most.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, look, this guy is in the team to be able to get the ball from the back line to the forward line. And that's why now you're seeing Tottenham Hotspur being able to play out from the back and up through the midfield into the forward line. Before this guy came in, what we were doing is we'd try and play it out from the back, and ultimately one of the defenders would end up kicking it long because we had no midfielder wanting to take that responsibility. This guy does it all the time, gets him the ball, turns, first passes forward. And I thought he done that absolutely exceptionally well in the second half yesterday. I thought even in a lot in periods in the first half, he was at it as well. And for me, I'm going to stick with my 8.
I think you should stick with the 8, but it is divisive. I think the reason you should, though, Dave, is the biggest one I've seen from a 9 that was, the second place, sort of choice is a 38% for a 9, and it's 56% for an 8, and then 6% for a 7. So a lot of people showing the sympathy.
Yeah, literally, that was me on my 6 accounts on the 7.
And then as well. So I would say, though, the fact that the 39%, though, for the 9 maybe shows that probably a lot of people really thought he was one of the best players, maybe out there that game, probably. And I haven't seen that close of a second place decision, but maybe a chance for James to redeem himself here with a Hojbjerg, and he's gone for a follow-up 7. And James, just as you thought, maybe, being, one of the chairman of the Hojbjerg Fan Club Academy, I will say I do agree with you on that 7. I do agree with you on that one.
Good.
I don't think Hojbjerg really did anything wrong that would warrant anything less than, a 7. I can't really recall anything that Hojbjerg, did wrong with a pass or a touch or anything, but nothing too glamorous from him. No beautiful passes dinked in behind for Kane like he did against West Ham or, went Man United. I just kind of thought sort of regular performance from Hojbjerg, and a 7 from me as well, but you went for the 7, and I think you're spot on.
Yeah, I agree with exactly what you said there. Like, it wasn't a world beater performance, but it also wasn't a poor performance. It was, I would describe it as a good performance, and good is, in my books, a 7. Like, if you compare it to other performances of Hojbjerg in recent times, I think the games where he would be pushing 8 and 9, it was against actually Man United when we lost. He was probably our best player. The amount of time, I mean, I was at the game in the away, and the amount of times he was running even down the wing and actually trying to make things happen and tick, but he wasn't doing that too much yesterday. And that's not necessarily a criticism about his performance. At the end of the day, he's there to mop up and get the ball moving so Bentancur can then do his source, or Kane can do his stuff. But he broke down the play enough, other than, like I said, a bit like the Bentancur argument in the first half. A couple of times they went through our midfield. It wasn't there. But it was a good performance overall. The midfield did well in the end. And yeah, 7 is good. So 7, and I'm glad you guys agree, and I'm not on the back foot on this one.
No need for the Oscar speech this time around for both of us, for either of us. But Dave, Bentancur, does he bring the best out of Hojbjerg? Does he maybe make it so that Hojbjerg's performances do look a bit more consistent? He doesn't, because Hojbjerg, at times, he was showing like, he isn't capable of, carrying this team. Maybe he does need a bit of help. Do you think Bentancur is bringing maybe the best out of Hojbjerg? But that's probably no slight on Hojbjerg either, I would say.
Well, I mean, when you're one midfielder and you're coming up against a 2 or a 3 every week, and you have no partner in beside you to help you in terms of AKA Winksy, I mean, of course it's going to be hard. Of course you can't carry a team. Midfield is crucial to it's one of the most crucial positions on the pitch to get right, because you need it to help out your defense, but you also need it to help out going forward. It's absolutely crucial. And midfield is all about partnerships, in my opinion. Look, I went into the senior team at 16 and started playing centre midfield. And it's all about partnership. Look, and it always has been. You look at United; they had Paul Scholes in there as the passer, and Ed Roy Keane, who was in there, who could pass a ball, but not as good as Scholes, but could tackle, could win the ball. I mean, he was the hard man. And we've got that right now with Bentancur, who's the passer of the ball. And you've got that with Hojbjerg, who does everything else in midfield well and excels in the defensive side of the game, but tactically he can do it okay. But we should never have been looking at Hojbjerg to be the solver of our problems or be the creator, because it's not what we brought him in to do. We brought him in to play beside Ndombele. And when he did come in beside Ndombele, look, go take yourself back to when it was Ndombele in midfield. We were screaming out for someone behind him to do the defensive duties because the lazy fucker wouldn't do it. Hojbjerg came in, we're all raving about him because it's exactly what he'd done. He shored up the midfield and brought a bit of steel into it. And at the end of the day, every midfielder needs a partner. So for me, I think it's a good partnership. You can guarantee the rest of them players in there, and even Bentancur, they appreciate all the dark side of the game that Hojbjerg does. They appreciate it because by him doing that, he allows all the other players, the likes of a Bentancur and the forward players, to be able to go and do their thing, to give them the attacking platform, to be able to go and do their thing, knowing that every time the ball comes back or comes into midfield, this guy is there looking to turn it over, recycle it, and let them go and do it again. So for me, it's all about partnership centre midfield. It always has been. You have to have a partnership. Look, we put our creative problems on Hojbjerg and not Winks. Winks was brought into the team to do the passing. Since Bentancur has come in, he's completely exposed Harry Winks for what he is. He won't pass forward. He's not brave on the ball. He won't take the ball and turn and do things. And he's completely exposed Harry Winks. But people wanted to put Harry Winks' problems on Hojbjerg when he was never what he was brought in to do. He was brought in to be that defensive solidity in beside Ndombele. So that's why I didn't understand where the criticism for Hojbjerg was coming from. But in terms of yesterday, he won the ball a couple of times. He was always a passing option for Bentancur. If you go look at that game, the West Ham game, he's constantly been an option for Bentancur that if he does need to pass it sideways, he is there. Hojbjerg tried a few switches of play. In the first half, he tried a few balls in behind for Emerson. Okay, they didn't come off, but he's trying them. He's trying to. And for me, look, I don't think he excelled. I don't think he warrants an 8, but I think 7 is a good rating.
I think, like, in the case,
clip that one, and put that on the highlight reel as well. By the way, because that was so well put.
Beautifully broken down, Dave. Honestly, I think it explained the whole, maybe issue, with maybe Hojbjerg's kind of, bad bit of form. And I think probably what you said as well that kind of rung true for me was felt like we were kind of unloading Harry Winks's deficiencies onto Hojbjerg. It was like everything that Harry Winks couldn't do was then like Hojbjerg was responsible for. And it's kind of like, well, Hojbjerg is good at what he does. Why can't Winks be good at what he's supposed to do? And I feel like that's what, the argument maybe was always missing between, what Hojbjerg and Winks could bring. But, don't need to put me on the Hojbjerg soap opera. I'm on it already every day. I need to space it out a bit more.
One more thing I was just going to say about the Hojbjerg thing, because I agree with absolutely everything Dave said then. I think I don't understand the Hojbjerg. I don't want to bring up another talking point, but I don't understand the Hojbjerg agenda when people hate on Hojbjerg because he doesn't assist or he doesn't score a goal. At the end of the day, like Dave said, he's there to mop up and do the dirty work. And he does that many times very, very well. And the extra points, I mean, this season we've actually got more out of him. We've got a couple, 3 goals out of him and 1 or 2 assists. Like, he's not there to do that. And the fact that I describe him as, people may disagree or agree, he's an unsung hero. Like, he doesn't have a song about him. He doesn't have, well, a well-known song anyway. He doesn't have, this play style like Bentancur where he can be tricky with his feet and put an unbelievable ball. He does that from time to time, but that's not his job. He's to do the dirty work. And that's why as Spurs fans, we knew the player like Moussa Dembele was absolutely class. But in terms of the Premier League, people didn't talk about Moussa Dembele as being one of the greatest midfielders because he did the dirty work. He got stuck in. He controlled the ball so well. And that is, Moussa Dembele was an unsung hero. Like, of course, as Spurs fans, we absolutely loved him. But Hojbjerg doesn't really get that massive recognition because he's not that kind of player that does. Do you see what?
Spot on, James.
You also
Back to
have
back,
to ask
back to
yourself,
back mic drops on Hojbjerg. I'm loving this. I wish Ellie were here for this one. And
Well-
honestly, that song would come from Ellie, whichever Hojbjerg song eventually comes.
but you also have to ask yourself: do you want a Moussa Sissoko who can run around and win the ball but can't pass a football, or do you want a Hojbjerg who can win the ball and pass it to someone to go and do what they did to allow the attacking players to go and flourish? You would rather someone like Hojbjerg. It could be look, anyone that gives out about Hojbjerg, okay, fine. If you want a team with Moussa Sissoko in the middle who cannot kick a football, fine by me. But don't come complaining to me when we lose every week. At least Hojbjerg can win the football and pass it, which is what we need. How many times did we find ourselves giving out about Sissoko winning the ball, but then can't pass or do anything with it? So much time, so many.
Maybe Hojbjerg exposed Sissoko, and then Bentancur is now exposing Winks.
Well, I mean, we had Sissoko when we bought Hojbjerg, so clearly when he was brought in, they knew, okay, we have Sissoko who can win a ball, but we need someone who can pass it. So they brought in Hojbjerg.
Well, actually, probably fair as well. And they actually just knew he probably could do Sissoko's job, on top of it. But I think we move on to Kulusevski on this one, lads. But by the way, on the poll there, and this warms my heart as well. On Hojbjerg, 53% have gone for a 7, 40% have gone for an 8, and then 7% have gone for a 6. Which has just warmed my heart, as well as the Hojbjerg fan club. But for me, an 8 for Kulusevski, I think had the most shot-creating actions, the most goal-creating actions, was practically just one of the best players on the pitch that day. I really loved everything that Kulusevski was doing. Didn't really get the goal that we probably would have liked, and so maybe that's why he maybe isn't spoken about as maybe one of the man of the matches. But when you do kind of look at some of just the core raw kind of chances created sort of kind of stats, was in fact actually one of the most creative players on the pitch that day. His crossover, I believe it was the one to Emerson, I think was that nice assist that he was able to grab as well. I thought Dejan, I think what makes him so incredibly good, James, is that he doesn't need the pace. He's nice and kind of, tricky, it gives you the hesitant kind of, he gives you all the kind of the feints, all the body feints, gives you that hesitancy, what he wants to do with the ball. He doesn't really hit you with pace all the time. What do you think Kulusevski does that makes him so creative?
Just like you said, this guy's something week in, week out. Like, I feel like we see parts of his game every single week that we didn't know about. Like when he first came in, I just really thought that Kulusevski, and I'm gonna be honest, like when he
two
first,
assists, I forgot. Sorry, 2 assists. Yeah, the one to Sonny with the right foot. Sorry, James.
Did he? I thought he got one assist. It was for Son, wasn't it?
Yeah. Who had the one to Emerson's head? Doherty. That's right, Doherty. Now I got it. I think all things makes sense.
Listen,
sorry,
Jack, there was 8 goal contributions yesterday in our squad. That's the record for Spurs. I'm not surprised you're getting confused, mate. But listen, Kulusevski surprising me because when he came in, a lot of people, including myself, were like, "This guy's kind of slow. He's a bit heavy-footed. He doesn't seem like this silky player that can beat a man." No. It doesn't matter. He's not quick. This guy has the amazing dribbling, underrated dribbling. He can just turn a man, play an unbelievable pass. He played that pass with his right foot. Correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, we thought he was one-footed. I think he is probably very one-footed. But the fact that he put that ball in with his right foot, pinpoint to Son across the box, another side to his game we haven't seen. Most of his assists have been cut in left foot, a great ball over, like the one against City, he put in for Kane for that header in the dying embers. A lot of them have been with his left foot. This one with his right foot was absolutely just as good. And for me, I put him as an 8.5. I would nearly go as far to put him as a 9. He's in my top 3 Spurs players yesterday. He's just absolute sauce. He's just what we needed. He offers something different. He's not like Bergwijn and Lucas, who are quick players, direct. He offers something different. He can whip a ball in the dying embers of a game, and you can get players in there like Kane and Romero to try and head it in. He offers something very different in this team, and he was class again yesterday. Another assist, like you said, Jack. Unfortunate maybe not to get a goal in an absolute thrashing, but for me, he is really changing this Spurs team, and I'm so excited, more excited almost than having Bentancur in the midfield. Kulusevski is going to be a brilliant player for Spurs.
Is it a 9 for you then, James? You gone for
I'm
another
going to do it. I'm going to do it. I saw a lot of 9s in the chat as well, so I'm glad for this one. I've gone a little bit higher for you guys, and maybe the chat has agreed with me for this one. But I am going to round it up to a 9 for the 0.5 rule. slap myself on the wrist, never doing 0.5s again for this channel. Because it's a
No,
bit
you
of a
just
cop-out.
gotta put yourself in a camp. There's no way. Never anything easy on this channel. Never anything easy. Gotta have the hot takes. Gotta have the hot
Yeah,
takes.
yeah.
Always as well.
But it's be interested to see what you guys think. Like, am I going a bit over the top about Kulusevski,
I
or
don't
is
think a
this guy a
9 is that
serious baller?
ridiculous at all. I think actually an 8 is probably, you could make the case is a bit harsher. But like, I continue to say, there's so many people I could give a 9 to, but I'm trying to find a man of the match, and I decide to give it to the least likely person. So I basically, probably more people should look at me with how many 8s I'm just tossing around here. But Dave, I mean, Kulusevski, is it really a 9? You think that's probably fair to him?
Look, before I get into that, I just want to kind of touch on a point that James made about the impact that he's had and stuff like that. And something just dawned on me. Well, not dawned on me. I kind of always knew this, but like the way to put it. Look, football is about pieces of the puzzle, right? All season long, up until January, and even all through January, I've been screaming for a ball-playing midfielder. We've been screaming for someone to be able to, on the right-hand side for seasons now, to be able to have a proper output. And when you bring in these two players, two pieces of the puzzle, look how much better this Tottenham team means, and this Tottenham team is. And if there's ever a case of it's about quality over quantity, this is it. The two players coming in and the impact they've had. But in terms of Kulu, just on the game yesterday, look, I'm out of mic drop moment. So, look, Kulu, for me, he held up the ball well at times. He was a winning runner all day long. He had the 1-2 with Matt Doherty for Matt Doherty's assist to Emerson's goal.
Emerson.
And then he had the assist to Sonny's goal. And people asked, could he do something on his right foot? Kulu answered that question. He has a right foot. He could definitely swing it and put across the box if need be. And for me, look, he done well. What he does very well is he's a very good link-up player. He's always when you see a lot of our goals and our moves, he's always involved. He's a very good link-up player, this guy. I'm happy with him. But I'm going to stick with an 8. I think 9, I think he's stretching it.
So so Dave, that's another mic drop, by the way. You had that to your highlight reel. And the fact that you've given a mic drop, an Oscar moment, and then not rounded it up has really hit me deep inside. I thought you were going for the 9 then. I really did.
No, he's then just going to bring you right back down. That's what made the performance even better, is that then he just brings you all right back down.
It was like a rocket going to space. It was like, this is the 9 rocket, but I'm still going to give it an 8. It's just crashed.
That's what I think I did as well.
But I don't think he done anything spectacular to warrant a 9.
What about this then, Dave? I know this isn't about the individual game, but since Kulusevski's come in, have this stat for you as well. Since Kulusevski's come in, no player has assisted more times in the Premier League than Kulusevski. He has assisted 5 goals since he's joined, starting in February the 7th. And the second most is who? Harry Class A Kane as number 2. And number 3 is some fraud from Arsenal, but we won't worry about him. But Kulusevski, 5 assists since he's joined. That just proves to me he has changed the whole game at Spurs.
Yeah. Oh, no, it completely has. Completely. Look, you look at Kane and Son were excellent last year together, but it was screaming for someone to play on the right-hand side because teams copped on to us very quickly and they're like, just press the left-hand side of the pitch, from middle to left, press that area side of the pitch, put bodies in there, dispossess them, and let's go at Tottenham because they're fragile, they're weak in midfield and they're weak defensively. This season, Kulu has come in. Since he's come in, he's added someone down the right-hand side, which means the whole back line is stretched. And it, because before what teams were doing, they were just letting us hit the right-hand side all day long, let them put it in the box. It's not going to be any quality. We're coming out of here. But now you have Kulu over there. They can't do that, which means it stretches the defence right out. And look, since he's come in, it's not a coincidence that Tottenham are scoring a lot more goals either.
Yeah,
exactly.
And Bentancur as well as a massive part to play because he gets the ball to the front people.
Love that, Dave. Absolutely
100%.
love that. And I just thought this was a great comment from Tala saying, remember when we were all debating during the window if our squad got stronger or not from releasing 4 players? Well, look where we are now. Well, Dave, I think you have some more things to add to the compilation reel then as well, I guess is what Tala is saying.
He's right. He's right. Because I said, I hold my hands up right now, right? I said that window, I think, was a 6 out of 10. And I think Dave said it was an 8 out of 10. And I was like, Dave, how is it an 8 out of 10? And
9.
then now we're starting to see it's actually probably a 9 out of 10 window. Like, it's just crazy.
Look, I'm going to hold back all that until the end of the season. I want to make sure we get top 4 first. But I have a lot of questions to be asking, putting out there. A lot of questions to be asking the Spurs fan base. Look, I was abused at the early part of the season not abused, wrong word. I was slated for defending Harry Kane to start the season. Everything I said has come true. I was slated for calling Don Paratici a Don. Well, he's a Don. I've been people have criticised Don Paratici, calling him Con Paratici, slated the transfer window. He's shit. He goes back to his own club. He's bringing in rejects. I'm sorry, but them rejects have improved the team. They were a good bit of business. It was quality over quantity. He's in the process of rectifying Steve Hitchens' absolute disaster. But look, James, we won't get into it. We'll wait till the end of the season. I have a lot of things to be putting out there about Paratici. And look, at the time, I just think fans were upset with what was going on at the club, rightly so. But at the end of the day, hold your hands up and admit you were wrong. You got it wrong about Paratici. Hold your hands up. I hold my hands up when I get it wrong about Davies, Dyer, and like that, Doherty. I sing a song too because I got it wrong. I ask people out there, hold your hands up and admit you were wrong about Paratici.
There it is, everybody. Come forth. But we're going to move on to Son Heung-min. You've given him an 8, James. I've gone for an 8 as well. I thought especially that goal, though, with that cross from Culusevski, honestly, a spectacular touch, I must say, because he did receive that just absolutely beautifully into the left foot and then just put it home as well with the left foot was just fundamental. Like I said, it'd be like a father's dream, to see your kid, put it away, that fundamentally. But what are your thoughts on Sonny's performance? I thought, maybe a bit similar to actually Newcastle's, where just extraordinarily clinical, extraordinarily good at making the runs, through the middle. When Harry Kane drops deep, he comes through the middle and will make those runs in behind. He's almost playing like a second striker right now. Almost makes you think that it's a tough sell to even get, that backup striker of real quality, because Sonny seems to even make the case as being the best second striker, in the Premier League as well. What are your thoughts on Sonny's performance? I think the 8 is justified, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think you're spot on. I think the amount of times that Kane obviously drops deep, we're seeing it more and more and more. And like I said earlier in the video, a bit like the whole Dembele thing, like the footballing world is starting to realize now that Harry Kane drops deep so much and actually sprays the balls everywhere across the park and creates so much, unlocks so much in this Spurs team. And Son almost goes more direct, goes more central. And in terms of the 8, I think it could have been a 9 if he didn't give away the free kick in the first half. I know I've said it a couple of times now, but it has to be said. Like, I don't know what was. To be fair, someone had to take him down. Like, I don't know why it got to that stage. So maybe I'm being.
That's why I think it falls more on Lloris though in that scenario, because I'm just kind of like I know like it's a bad free kick to give away, but you're just like that happens. Sometimes that just happens, and even if let's say they just banged the free kick over the wall, you'd be kind of like, yeah, whoever gave that away, tough on them. But the fact that then they scored it with a pretty poor free kick, you're just kind of like, you kind of look away from the foul.
No, I get that. But I think Son did miss, like it mattered. We won 5-1, so who cares? But I do think, correct me if I'm wrong, he did miss quite a bit of a sitter.
I think it was around 3 or 4-1. Yeah, it was around 3 or 4-1. It was a ball in from Harry Kane, I believe.
Yeah, it just went wide, and I was thinking like, Son, that's your bread and butter kind of thing. Like, why is that not gone in the back of the net? But again, literally, I'm trying to be critical on an amazing performance all round, right? And I do think 8 is fair. 8 I class is a very good performance, and it probably would have been, like I said, 9 if he didn't, bring the player down and put the other chance away. But like Dave said it so many times, the amount of times that Son is, and you said it yourself, Jack, coming central as this striker and allowing Harry Kane to drop deep and almost spray the balls from centre mid. It's just unbelievable how it works. It's just working so well. And actually, Kulusevski is almost seen as like a right forward, but he's actually drifting very wide and supporting the right wing back. He's then also coming inside and making another option nearer to the box. The front three is so versatile. There needs to be another word for versatile because it's that versatile. It is just so good to see at the moment.
I do love, and he also, I guess, also gave the cross in for Ben Davies's header, as well. I think Ben Davies's finish was especially impressive, but for Sonny as well, looked up, found Ben Davies's noggin, and he was able to put it away. Dave, maybe anything to say on Son, but do we move on to maybe your big take on Mr. HK?
No, just quickly on Son. Look, he made the error for giving away the free kick. Look, whether the most hardcore Sonny fans out there want to admit it or not, it's an absolute no-no place to give away a free kick. It's stupid. But look, at the end of the day, yes, Lloris could have prevented it. But look, at the end of the day, I was going mad. I asked for the guy to atone his error, and it's exactly what he done. He went up there and he got a goal and assist. And that's all you can ask for. It's all you can ask for off the guy at the end of the day. And for me, look, beautiful assist. His corners, actually, I thought he was putting in good deliveries into the box from corners during the game as well. And he got his goal as well. Look, it was a good crossing by Kulu. He put it on a plate for him, got the first touch, lovely. And then from there, you can't miss. You're between the 6-yard box and the penalty spot. If you're missing, I'd be asking questions. And look, he was a winning runner again all day long. Kane drops deep, Son keeps running out from in. And that's not an easy thing to do for 90 minutes, So credit where credit's due, but I'm sticking with my 8.
Sticking with your 8. So maybe then, Dave, explain yourself with this 9. He didn't in fact score, but was probably had a hand in every single goal except maybe the first one. You could say Harry Kane did. You've gone for a 9. I've gone for an 8. I actually thought he played about as well as maybe Kulusevski and Sonny did. I know he did, what we all know Harry Kane does. He does exactly the world-class ability of being able to drop deep, spray the passes in behind, being that link-up man, being the creator, being able to spin every center back known to man. He did all the things that we know Harry Kane does. But maybe it's just the fact that there wasn't that goal, maybe just topped on, there like a cherry on top. It doesn't really give me the 9 performance, Dave, but he did have a hand.
Jack, that's because he
goal.
sacrificed the goals, though. He sacrificed the goals in the greater good for other people to put them in. He created the goals.
We're just talking, but Dave, this is just numbers, Dave. We're just giving it, to numbers, and it looks like you're going to have to put up a bit of an Oscar, performance here, because, like, for me, Dave, I kind of, said that Ben Davies is 9. A lot of that goal, the goal that he put in, carries a lot of weight for me. So, what carries a lot of weight for you for this 9 for Harry Kane?
Look, I don't think I need to put in an Oscar performance, to be honest with you. Sky Sports gave him man the match. The poll yesterday after the game gave him man the match. I think a lot more people agree with me. Just people that wanted Son to be man the match are the ones that are probably being a bit more vocal about Kane not deserving of man the match. Look, between Kane, Romero and Son, one of them deserved man the match. But for me, you're asking a guy who's been the focal point, who scores all the goals, to sacrifice himself. Tell me how many strikers in world football would do that?
None.
At his level.
None.
None. Yeah, exactly. So he drops back. Look, them goals in the second half, that performance doesn't happen if Kane doesn't start dropping deep to get on the ball and start playing people in. He put a beautiful ball into the box for Doherty's goal. He was the one that played the ball in behind for Kulusevski's goal. And not only does he stand there and make them passes, he doesn't stand there and admire it. He does what people are taught since they're kids. Follow your pass, follow your shot in. And he's done that all game long. If he doesn't drop deep to pick up that ball and put people in behind, we don't get them attacks off like we were yesterday. And for me, he was at the heart of everything we done good going forward in the second half. And that's why I'm giving him man of the match. That's why Sky Sports are giving him man of the match. And that's why the poll yesterday gave him man of the match.
Love it. Love it, Dave. Love it. James, anything to add on top of Dave's, brilliant, little speech on Harry Kane? I think it was yet again another fantastic performance from the guy. But I was being hard on myself, and I only wanted to give 1 9 to one player in that whole team. Is he the one that you would give it to?
Yeah, for me, I agree with Dave. I've given him man of the match as well. 9. I actually nearly gave him a 9.5. Just the guy. Dave is spot on. Like, I understand what you're saying, Jack, about, he didn't get the goal. But the amount of times he played, I would love to see the stats. The amount of times he dropped deep and played that ball, not just a good ball, a pinpoint ball, straight to Son, who has to literally do nothing. It literally falls to his feet 2 or 3 times in that game. 2 or 3 times he switched it to the wing backs. The guy is unbelievable. He is proving to the Premier League now that he's now getting talked about as being one of the best playmakers in the league. Most assists last year. Now challenging it again this year. More assists than Kevin De Bruyne this year. I mean, the guy is absolute source. And like Dave said, how many strikers, it's certainly in my lifetime, have you seen that can play not as a finisher, but also a finisher and a playmaker? It is just out of this world. I'm sorry, I don't have enough good words to say about Harry Kane. And yesterday, it was one of his best performances again.
Well, that's why Dave, is sleeping with the dictionary every night because he's trying to find new words for Harry Kane, all
it's
the
just
time.
ridiculous.
No,
He's
I
so
just want
good.
to add as well. It's not true that Harry Kane doesn't drop back and defend. In fact, Harry Kane gave away a pass, dropped back, defend, and took the player out and took a yellow card for it. And all season long, Harry Kane has sprinted back to his penalty area. It's just I don't sit there and gloat about it. I don't need to but at the end of the day, he does do it. Just because it's not talked about enough, don't sit there and pretend that Harry Kane does not do that, because he does. He does go back and defend, just like Sonny does. And look, I'm not saying Sonny's not world class. I'm not saying Sonny's not a good player. Sonny's a great player. Yes, he had to make that run, but it's easier to be the guy that sits in the middle than the guy that picks the pass to the guy in the middle. And for Son's goal, the ball was started by Harry Kane, who dropped deep, who gave up that position to allow Sonny to get the goals. That's why you're seeing Sonny getting the goals like he did against West Ham and yesterday, is because Harry Kane is the one that's vacating that space. He's dropping deep to pick up the ball to create the moves. He put the ball in behind Kulusevski. Son couldn't miss once that pass was played. Now, don't get me wrong. Son had a good game yesterday. Like I said, his corners were very good yesterday. He was a winning runner all game yesterday. And like I said, it's not easy to keep making them runs that he does do. He's a very energetic player. And I love Son. But yesterday, he was not man of the match. Harry Kane was.
Kane, also, one thing to add on that, Dave, you're spot on. One thing is, Son is obviously a world-class player, but Kane makes him that extra level by giving him that service so many times in the game to his feet. And I can't remember who's put it, but they're asking, did Son not have to do anything? Is James saying Son didn't have to do anything? I'm not saying Son didn't have to do anything, but Son has the luxury of receiving the ball to his feet. I mean, I've said it 3 or 4 times. Go back and watch the highlights. The amount of times he sprays the ball and he knows exactly where Son is. He doesn't even need to look a lot of the time. They just have this connection where they know exactly where each other are going to run in between the spaces, exactly where the ball is going to land, and exactly where that ball is going to end up in the back of the net. And another point to add on the Kane hype is a couple of points from Eamon and Ribsy in the chat, saying Kane is actually amazing at defending at corners, and sometimes he digs us out of corners as well. He does defend the ball so well from corners as well, and that goes unnoticed as well. A bit like what you said, Dave, where you said I'm not going to pick it out every 5 minutes because I see him do it. That's another thing Kane does so well.
But the thing is, it's not only corners. How many times, go back to Norwich, there's other games earlier on when Conte first came in, you see Kane hurtling back, trying to win that ball back. It's not just from set pieces. And Pottermac, look, I know where you stand on Son. We've had a falling out over it before, which I think is pathetic because I love Son. But to say Son or Kane's passes shine because of Son, I mean, running is the easiest part to do in terms of football. Picking the pass and getting the execution on the pass, the right way on the pass and everything else is actually the harder thing to do. So I disagree with you there. The pass is the harder thing to do than make the run. The running is the easy part. You're fit at the end of the day. You already have the things to be able to make the run, but the pass is the harder thing to do, to be able to get the right way on it and everything else. And I just think that comment there is just pure Son bias, in my opinion.
Listen, we love both players, right?
I love both. I've made no doubts about that. But why should I? Why all of a sudden do people think I hate Son because I picked Kane as man of the match? I've explained my reasons why.
Well, if it helps the argument at all, I have more Son shirts than Kane shirts. So actually, I probably overall prefer Son as a player. And I'm saying that Kane makes Son a better player and just gives him that extra level because he has the luxury to receive the ball. If Son had Kevin De Bruyne in his team, he'd also have another luxury because he'd know exactly where to play a pass, pinpoint pass. Kane's game is starting to be noticed by world football now. Like Jamie Carragher said it on commentary. He said he got slaughtered for it. I don't often agree with Jamie Carragher, but he's spot on. Weeks ago, he was saying that Harry Kane is the best playmaker and pass for the ball in the league, and everyone was rinsing him on social media. All of a sudden, people are starting to realize that Kane is actually the best playmaker in the league because he got the most assists last year, and he's up there for the most assists again. And that is why Harry Kane is in another world of his own in terms of best strikers in the world.
And just to be clear, not one person heard me put down Son
No.
in order to make my point about Kane. Just to make that clear, Potter Matt, to you. Look, at the end of the day, it wasn't me that gave away the free kick. It was Son that gave away the free kick. And I can't criticise him for giving away the free kick in the position he gave it away. It's a big no-no. It's been a big no-no since before even I was born not to give away free kicks on the edge of the box. So I'm not just making it up and plucking it out of thin air. It's been a no-no since before I was born. Everyone knows you do not give free kicks in and around your box. It's that simple. And he did. I didn't do it. Son done it. And at the end of the day, what can I do? He gave away the free kick. I don't want to sit here and highlight it, but he done it. I'm not criticising the guy. I think the guy's a wonderful player. I think he's world class. In fact, you go back over the last couple of weeks when people have been pulling parts on, I've sat here and I've defended him countless of times. But I'm not going to go through this every single time with people when I pick Kane as my man of the match just because they wanted to be Son because it's their favourite player. It's pure biased. At the end of the day, look, if it was just me that picked Harry Kane, I'd understand it, but it wasn't. It was the chat yesterday after the game and Sky Sports.
Thoughts on maybe the substitutes? Maybe just quickly, I thought Lucas Moura actually all of a sudden, played really well. Like, do you think James, like, I thought actually as much as Bergwijn, did get the goal, all of a sudden again, he's grabbed another goal. Really was for me, Lucas's like ridiculous first touch to take it past, I think, whichever player it was, and then to slip the ball through the legs of a defender as well. Really was actually a very saucy goal created by Lucas. And I was a bit worried because Lucas, for me, wasn't really showing anything of much lately, and actually maybe looked like he didn't really enjoy life, at Spurs recently. But the way that he came on to absolutely continue to tear apart Newcastle, I think was fun to see. I think it was good to see Bergwijn get the goal. But I would say that was more Lucas just tearing apart the defense than I would say Bergwijn. But Bergwijn still looked good nonetheless.
100%. And I don't know if we're going to rate the bench. I don't think we are. But if it was to come to it, I would have said Bergwijn. If you're rating on just when he's come on, it's an 8 because if he scored that volley as well, that was absolutely unbelievable. Like straight after the goal, you can tell his confidence is so high at the moment with 4 goals on the international break or 3 goals. But back to Lucas. I've said it numerous times. I'm a big fan of Lucas. And the fact that he is so direct in his runs, that's what his best attribute is. He's so direct with his runs. Did he mean to assist that goal or did he get fouled and the ball went through? That's up to you guys. But at the end of the day, like Jack said, he offered something very different and just the slaughter of Newcastle continued with these direct runs, and Bergwijn was then almost playing the Sonny role when he was through on goal. And great finish, absolutely great finish. And Lucas was the creator in this sense, and I just love that Lucas is 9 times out of 10 fearless at running at opponents. Whether he gets past them or not, that's another matter again. But I just love the fact he's so direct, and that has always been my favourite bit about Lucas Moura. He is just fearless at running through, and got the reward yesterday with the assist.
Beautifully put. Harry Winks also came on, pretty much just, more or less just kind of like that guy that shows up late to a party that you just didn't really want to see show up, sort of situation. But I thought didn't really do a whole lot wrong. But I think we can wrap it up. Fan show later, Crystal Palace match coming up. Dave and I are going to be watching that. But we do have fan show coming on at 9:30. Depending on whether that Crystal Palace Arsenal match is happening, maybe we just might have to push it back a bit just for people to be able to see it. But we do have lots of people are coming on tonight, Dave. I'm looking forward to what they have to say, especially regarding, maybe Paratici, talking to the 4th official, as well as some of the performances, looking on to, maybe this top 4 race. So the fan show, as I would say, everybody stick around for later.
No, 100%. James, where can people find you, my man?
Yeah, people can find me on Spurs Related, hence the t-shirt I ran and got just before we came on board. A little bit of brand in there. Spurs Related, yeah. A lot of you guys may or may not already be subscribed. We do weekly videos, maybe 3 to 4 videos a week. Same kind of stuff, match reactions, match previews, breaking down tactics, but also one of our kind of niches, if you like, if you want to subscribe to us for an actual reason other than for me and Andre to talk about Spurs, is we're doing a lot of quizzes. So if quizzes are your thing, Spurs quizzes in particular, then get over to Spurs Related, because we do well, according to Dave and everyone else, and a lot of the Spurs community absolutely love our quizzes, and we want to try and do more of them. It offers something different. It's a fun atmosphere, especially after if we win. Like you said, Dave, this Saturday on your channel, we're hosting one. I hope it's going to be an absolute party over there at about, 9 o'clock after the game. Absolutely looking forward to it. Hope you guys can join us over on our channel for some of those quizzes as well. And Jack and Dave, always been an absolute pleasure coming on this channel. One of my favorites, if not my favorite, to come on. And it's been an absolute blast for 2 hours. Can't believe it's been 2 hours, to be honest with you. The amount we've talked about these players is absolutely brilliant.
Sometimes you just get really into, certain players in the beginning. You just kind of get all your thoughts out in the game, and then you eventually wind down with the other players. But a bit of controversy, I guess, always when talking about the front three, because we all love them so much. And also maybe things went on a bit longer because I had to, get a speech out of the way with Ben Davies, to, confess my love, James. But like you said, but yep, Dave, fan show later, wrap it up.
Yeah, fan show later on tonight, guys. We'll probably put it out just as the Arsenal game is going to finish. We'll probably start then. So, guys, we'll see you all then. As always, come on, you Spurs. In Conte we trust. And Harry Kane was man of the match.
Go, Spurs.